are. Yes.
We should be like, hello.
We stopped counting so that we would know that we're live.
Okay, cool. Like, I was gonna say, our producer did this really cool thing where they stopped on 3, but because they stopped on 3 and I'm very autistic, I was just like, I don't know what's happened.
Does that mean the countdown's canceled or are we live?
Hi! Welcome to Girls Run These Worlds. This is going to be a super smooth and not chaotic session where we all know what we're doing. And I think that these first few minutes have really inspired a lot of faith in you, our audience, in that. My name is Ella, my pronouns are she, her. I will be your GM today, and I am going to be running Upriver Downriver, which is a game that I actually made. It was published by MacGuffin & Company. We crowdfunded it. Here is the book. It's very pretty.
You have one.
Yes, I do.
I want one. I want one.
And well, you see it as a very desirable product, as exhibited by the people who've signed up to play it for 4 weeks. Anyway, it's Upriver Downriver, published by MacGuffin & Company. In terms of content, this is a high fantasy game. Generally speaking, I say as reference points, think like Lord of the Rings or Princess Mononoke, which is to say that it's a fantasy game that still deals with ideas of like war and environmental destruction. So you should come in like being aware it's a bittersweet game. On that note, I just have some trigger warnings for you. This game does contain, as I said, themes of war, fantasy, discrimination, death, and grief. We as a group will make every effort to address these themes with compassion and respect. But please be kind to yourself and only watch if you feel able to. If you don't feel able to watch this right now or ever, that's okay. There are other games to watch. There are many other wonderful games on Girls Run These Worlds. So check out some of those instead. Alrighty, so next up I would like my beautiful cast to introduce themselves. Now, my cast have quite a lot of things to do because I wrote a game where there are like 3 crucial aspects to every character, so we're gonna see how this goes. I want everyone to tell me your real life name and pronouns, your character's name and pronouns, your role, path, and origin, and why you're going to the source. Ideally, for your bit on why you're going to the source, 1 or 2 sentences. There will be a test. The test is right now, live, on stream, in front of real people, and later on YouTube.
I'm failing already.
I'm gonna start like sweating.
It is okay, Zania. I believe in you. So yeah, as our mystery role, Zania, please could you kick us off?
Yeah. So, hi, my name's Zania. People know me as Zanianator. My pronouns are they, them.
Killing it. That was actually helpful. I wasn't being sarcastic.
I promise I'm very confident. I'm very confident online. It's fine. I'm playing Captain Faye Halfmoon. Let's see. Her pronouns are...
I said pronouns.
Yes, I'm getting the pronouns. Pronouns are she, they for her. Her path is the sun. And
why is she going to the source?
Honestly, it's because of all these lovely people here. There might be some mild curiosity there, but you know.
You're getting paid by us, and you're doing a good job.
We will find out. Okay, next up, Amber.
Hello, my name is Amber. You might know me online as Tin Can Audio. My pronouns are they, them. I'm going to be playing the first mate, Tarai, who is an elf, and they are a first mate of the Wheel of Fortune. They are traveling to the source for knowledge and for answers.
Next up, Lily.
Hello, I am Lily. I am Elise on Life on Twitter, and in Twitch and Twitch chat and Discord, I am LaScribe. My pronouns are she, they, and I'm going to be playing Sela. Her pronouns are also she, they, and she is the gunner with the Path of Strength. And she's really traveling to the source because it is the destination, but the adventure along the way is what she is really looking forward to.
Beautiful. Next up, Shahik.
Hello, I'm Sharik. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm playing Dr. Aldred Sprigmore, though don't call her Doctor nowadays because redacted. Aldred's pronouns are also she, her, and the reason I'm going to the source is because I've recently lost my mind and I need something to do.
Yay!
Sounds like a Tuesday to me.
Last but not least, Katie.
Hello, I'm Katie. I'm trying to get ready to get into my deeper voice, so that's why I did this. And you're very welcome. Thank you. She, they pronouns for me. And you probably haven't seen me much on the internet because I don't know how to use Twitter or whatever it is now. But I'm over at Fablemancer sometimes, and I'm also here doing stuff, and I'm also living under your sink. And I'm playing Joven, who is he, they. You'll get to know him momentarily. He's the cook, and he took the path of the world, which is all about sort of healing and renewal, and I don't know. Why am I going to the source? I don't think that we have time to unpack all of that, but but definitely searching for answers. You know, he's pretty old. He just wants to know. He just wants to know.
I love it. Shahik, is there something you wanted to say?
I forgot to mention some things. I'm halfling, and also I am a path of death, so I'm your local doctor of death. Come visit me.
Oh shit! I forgot to say, I'm also a human. I'm only the only human on the ship, and it's maybe a bit, you know, contentious, but we'll see.
Speaking of which,
Ooh.
oh yeah, Zania.
I also forgot to say I got a little nervous.
This is why, like, why didn't we put this in the Discord? Like, we just needed it written down. Why did we do this on live?
It's all my fault.
Yeah.
But Faye is a river folk. Read that book, you know, fish.
Well, we will find out more about who the river folk are, what the relationships between the various magical people and the human empire is, what we're talking about when we say go to the source, because for a lot of you who don't know anything about Upriver Downriver, that is going to be meaningless. What we're talking about with paths and roles. So essentially our group of players here are crew members on a ship. They have roles on that ship, like the doctor, the captain, the first mate. And they are also following paths. These paths are informed by the major arcana of the Rider-Waite Tarot. So hence death, the Wheel of Fortune, the sun, strength, the world. And those are kind of thematic in terms of there are things that our crew members are encouraged to do to follow their path, and there are things that they are forbidden from doing, or else they will lose their path and all associated benefits. They live in a world of this mighty, impossibly huge river, all that they have ever known as the river. And to give you all just a little bit more context on what that means and where we're at, I'm actually going to read from my book in what feels like the mightiest indulgence I have ever enjoyed.
Yes.
Yeah.
70 years ago, the people of the river lived in peace. Elves, humans, Kiwi, and halflings coexisted on the riverbank, and all respected the river folk and the wisdom they preached. But then humans found gold in the mountains. They reacted with violence and greed, indiscriminately destroying the mountain face, polluting the river, and abusing the Kiwi based on cruel superstitions and lies about Kiwi sensing gold. No one knows what happened next. Some say humanity killed the Kiwi, others that the Kiwi fled into or over the mountains, never to return. Either way, an atrocity was committed, and the Kiwi and all of their magical knowledge fled from the world. The elves, enraged by this cruelty and guided by the river folk, who themselves were horrified by the tainting of the great river with poison and blood, waged war on the humans in the echoing canyons. Armed with halfling weapons, the elves slaughtered the human miners. The human empire responded, razing every elven settlement on the Glass Road, overpowering them with sheer force of numbers and their terrible machines. When the elves returned from the mountains, they had no home to return to, and so the Glass Road elves too disappeared. Seeing the destruction wrought upon the elven settlements, the proud halfling weaponsmiths retreated into the valleys, hidden by the myriad winding paths of the river through the hills. Greedy with success, the humans of the Empire turned their malevolent gaze on the forest, which had for so long taunted the city with its abundance. But after 40 years of failed expeditions, the humans surrendered to a reluctant stalemate with the deadly shadows of the elves and the trees. The forest is forbidden now and feared by all human ships. The world has changed. Halflings, elves, and Kiwi are hidden from the human world. Some believe they're gone, dead or passed across the sea or over the mountains, never to return. The river folk are no longer venerated, and instead they hide in their treacherous marshes, tending to sinking shrines. On the Glass Road, some whisper of Kiwi and elves, seen disguised among the 1,000 traders or more who pass up and down the river. The people of the Glass never sat easy with what was done to the elves, many being descended from elven kin, as happens on a riverbank where peoples mix. On the Glass, imperial gold is rejected in favour of river silver, and miners heading to the canyons are met with cool indifference at best. The wealthy stretches of the Green Mile, the smokestacks, the city, the silver pits, and Port Town are patrolled with prejudice by the river police, though they rarely venture further upriver, unless they're in search of a criminal or fugitive. Though many do not dare to wish it, for the first time in nearly a century there is hope for peace along the river. The new human crown, Laume, is as fair-minded as they are beautiful, and seems to desire an air of reparation and healing following the death of their warmongering uncle, Crown Nereus. However, Laume is a young crown, at only 16, and has spent their life to date hidden away from the world by their uncle for reasons unknown. Their advisors and generals are split among those who wish to continue Nereus's bloody, glorious legacy, and those who sympathize with the magical people tormented by his greed. This is the world into which you journey. What will you do with your time upon the river? So most journeys in Upriver Downriver start in Meadowbrook, which was divined by the river folk as being represented by the Wheel of Fortune, which is in the exact center point of the river and which is the one place where really everyone still goes. Our crew, however, are going to be starting somewhere a little bit different. Not too far from Meadowbrook, just over Saddleback Ridge, one of the most notable hills in this central point of the river. Their boat, their beautiful boat, the Prestige, a sailing river barge with these huge rust-red sails, is drifting along this portion of the river where the Aur becomes the Arge, which are the two kind of different halves of the river. The southern river has these almost golden waters, especially in these kind of meadow fields where it reflects the light of the flowers and the kind of wheaty grass. But further upriver, where it takes on the kind of silver of the grass of the plains, it becomes the Arge and becomes instead a kind of beaten, hammered mirror silver. Here you're in this kind of transition from gold to silver as you move north, broadly speaking, through the hills. But you aren't on the primary river. Right now you're on a tributary off to the side. There's a lot less traffic here. There aren't really traders. There's certainly not really any human ships, which is good for you considering your crew. But it also means that you're taking a slightly slower way. Now you're probably aware that there were halfling settlements here. I'd really like to know, like, how much Lily, your character, Seela, has told us, told the rest of the crew about what to expect in this part of the world.
I don't think she has actually mentioned much at all. And in fact, I think she has mentioned that she is not from Haytown. How is it? Houghton. She is not from Houghton. But that is pretty much it. She's kind of close-lipped about why she didn't grow up in the regular collection of halfling villages.
Okay. In that case, you're moving through these green hills. They are beautiful. There's a wide blue sky above you. There are just acres and acres of flowers. Further back in Meadowbrook Way, you pass fields and fields of sheep. It's lambing season. It's kind of a beautiful time to be sailing on this river. There's sunlight falling golden across your deck and the river lapping gently against the wood of your boat. And I would like Captain Faye Halfmoon to please give me a roll. Now this is going to be your D12 plus your spirits. There is not a relevant knack for this. It's essentially a perception roll. Just tell me what you get.
I just love that Xenia is also sitting like this and like has like I can see your arms like you feel very captainy like in a big chair.
Oh, do you?
Like yes, I'll roll.
For context, I have like an L-shaped desk and I like sitting in the corner. It's very safe.
That sounds amazing. I love that for you.
So D12 plus spirits.
Yes, please.
All right. That is a 7.
Woof. Okay.
I didn't say I was a good captain. Come on.
That wasn't a
Love
good
to hear
one.
that sound from the DM.
It's like you.
And we all die. Everybody.
Well, you know, not necessarily, but what does happen is for the members of crew currently on your ship, the Prestige, you're enjoying this beautiful, warm afternoon. Amber and Casey, both roll me a d12, please, and I just want you both to tell me what you get on the d12.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I forgot to have dice.
Oh wait. Oh sorry. No, that's a 9. Sorry.
Okay, that's
We're at
fine.
D12, hey? Let's see.
Yes, please.
That's the wrong color. This is gonna take forever. Why didn't I do this before?
I
I can't find a D12.
Casey has like little butterfly clips in their hair.
Yeah.
I
very much
really
enjoying that.
appreciate
Super cute.
the butterflies.
You know, it seemed pastoral. Okay, that's one.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through my this is one of my big bags of dice. You know,
Aw.
it's good ASMR though. Okay, what am I doing? I'm rolling it. Oh, 11. That seems good. I hope high is good.
I mean, they're both better than mine.
But who
In that
knows?
case, Amber, try. I'm gonna put you on the deck of the ship. You are standing on the deck of the ship when suddenly a cannon appears from the top of one of the hills and fires at you. Now, the good thing is, it goes pretty wide. It just crashes into the water with this explosive sound. Spray explodes up in kind of pearlescent white water in front of your ship, but it is also very clearly a warning shot, and you know that because what you notice is that there are 2 cannons on one side of the valley you're sailing through and 2 cannons on the other side of the valley you're sailing through, and you are currently sailing into the middle of a gauntlet of 4 pretty powerful looking cannons.
We are nailing
like
it,
to
guys. We're nailing it.
What's the goal again? Get there like alive? I don't know.
So is the captain on deck?
Yeah, I
Okay.
hope so.
So I'm imagining I'm sort of standing on the front of the deck, see this happen, and then just sort of not react to it very much, but just go, Captain!
Just like almost in the most. You just hear the most. What?
This is gonna
Just
go
taking a sip of your coffee, just cannons.
Who's at the helm right now? Have we established that?
Normally it would be the captain, and I think I'm going to suggest that for now, if that's all right with everyone.
Okay.
Fine.
Not paying attention though.
Just
She was like totally looking at all the lamps, just like
Tarai's
that's wonderful.
She's just pooping. She's just pooping.
Tarai's just like, tell me you saw that.
Yes, I totally saw everything. What did we see again?
As you're saying this, another cannon shoots just short of the boat, but now it's a little bit closer than it was before. Like the first one was quite obviously quite off by maybe about 40 meters. This one's like 20 meters away. Like it's about half the distance. These cannon fires are getting closer to you on purpose and with precision. I will say, Seela and Jove, you are also now aware that you are being not fired upon, but fired close to. And Seela,
Love to see it.
in particular, you will know something about this. So you will be aware that this means that you are approaching a halfling settlement. You will also know that this means if this kind of mixed crew doesn't do anything to indicate to the people firing on them that they are not a threat in some way by indicating in a code established established by halfling communities that they're not a threat, the halflings will just start actually attacking them. You're aware of this, but what you do with that knowledge is up to you.
Just keep it under your hat. Keep it under your hat. Save it for rainy day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of just like kicked back on my hammock, like, oh, is it thunder outside? No, no. I run up to the captain and I say, oh, whatever this thing that we have to do.
As you have to indicate with semaphore, which is flags,
yes.
Code of flags.
Yes. I know the word. I do not know any particulars of the code. But whatever that code is, I believe she runs up to the captain with the flags like ready and like starts doing the proper signal in order to stop being fired upon.
Nailing it.
Just as well, because just before you start doing that, the third shot comes in, and this third shot sprays up so much water that Jove, where are you on the ship right now?
Joe's probably in the kitchen, I imagine. Like, you know, there's no reason for him not to be, I guess. I mean,
I'm gonna suggest in that case then that Jove has opened a window because it's a hot day.
Oh yeah,
and
he's also he also has a like an ever burning pipe in his mouth, pretty much. So like
yeah,
so the window would need to be open, or else it would just be a cloud of smoke down there. So
everyone eats like a lot of tobacco flavored stew,
and it's really good though.
It's really good. It's real tasty.
It's great for the skin.
You'd
it
think
just
you'd
adds
think
so
that,
much flavor.
You'd think that tobacco and figs like wouldn't go well together, but it really just the smokiness. It brings out the sweetness, you know.
I know.
So Jove, where you're cooking, a cannibal comes so close to the side of your ship that water just like washes in through the window. It does sadly like hit your stew. There's a lot of salt water in your stew now, and it puts out the like little fire on the gas stove that you've been using. And you are also quite soaking wet with water. This water isn't salty, you know, it's river water, so it is at least fresh water. But you know, it's a little salty. It's a little.
I know it's been like a full minute since the cigarette talk, or the pipe talk, but brings a new meaning to smoked salmon. Am I right?
No, you can't do me like this.
I don't know where I get these things. Anyway,
I can't believe you got the first dad joke in, because that is my entire character.
Oh, the stream's ruined.
Yeah. Son of a bitch. All right. That's okay. It was amazing. I think Jove like kind of is just like looking out the window, gets splashed, stuff gets splashed, but does that thing which like just stands there and like takes the pipe and like taps out the wet tobacco, packs it again, puts it in his mouth, and is like, well, I'm gonna go up on deck and see what's happening. And just sort of like the student is like, okay, yeah, we'll figure that out later, and yeah, we'll just head up. So he's gonna pick up okay, I guess like we haven't talked about the ship and like how it's shaped and everything. Is everything on one level, or are there like levels?
No, you'll be below deck, yeah, for sure. She probably doesn't have more than one deck. So that's to say, you'll have one level below deck and then the deck. And then she might have like a slightly raised deck for the helm. But the place where you will be living and doing cooking and stuff, that's all essentially a bungalow. Okay.
I think that we'll have it like the part that's the kitchen will be like a really long sort of like slightly inclined instead of stairs situation, because Jove will be picking up his cane and walking out, and it'll take him a little bit of time. He's hurrying, I think, like he's casual, but he's like hurrying a little bit. So yeah, so he's gonna just sort of take his time, but as swiftly as possible, just like go up this longer ramp and just look up at the captain and go, Captain, are you aware that there, I think there might be people shooting at us? I just thought you should know in case you didn't.
Yes. Oh, of course.
Also, dinner gonna be a little late today.
What? No.
Yeah, everyone's just like, no.
Sorry.
No, not dinner. Come on.
it's really important to me for people watching the stream to know that, like, in the action of this conversation, in the background, Sela is being, like, the MVP of the crew by, like, doing this semaphore to save everyone's
Just like
lives. While these three, like, goons are, like, having, like, a conversation about dinner.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a like overly complicated like flag thing too. Like she
Like
has to
throwing
like,
them up in
hold
the
two
air and
in
catching
one
them
hand
again.
and like grab another one and then
Yeah.
she's like no more hands.
100%. It's like baton twirling.
Faye's just flat out like, no, not did. Okay, did you hear that, Sela? Sela, are you paying attention? Sela.
Tries just like shh, 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 shh.
I'm trying to stop the firing. Wait, dinner.
Yes, dinner is important. It's gonna give you your strength.
I'll take a second to like quickly describe what Jove looks like, just so everyone's got a sort of like image in their head. So he's a human. He's like fairly tall, I think, compared to pretty much everyone on the ship too, right? Maybe not the elf. I don't know how tall you are.
I'm quite a young short elf.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so probably fairly tall compared to everybody, but a little bit stooped. He's about like probably about 70 years old or so. Looks like spry for a 70-year-old. Has like a full white beard. It's not like a Gandalf beard. It's like it's quite well maintained, but it is full and like a full white hair. And he's wearing a sort of like toga-esque kind of thing, like a very like living on the river. Definitely doesn't wear underwear. No way. He's 70. He doesn't care. Just let the breeze take him. And he's got a cane that's just made out. It's just like pretty simple, but it's made out of like a nice wood to help support his foot. That is looks as if it has been like broken and healed incorrectly, and so he's got a sort of like twisted foot. And yeah.
That is beautiful. And just before we, because there is a method in my madness.
Oh, sorry.
No, it was lovely and I really liked it. I'm very glad to know more about Jove. But I will say that Sela finishes doing the semaphore, and having successfully done the signal, the cannons stop firing on you, which is good. And about maybe 80 halflings appear, like 40 on one side of the bank, 40 on the other side, fully armored, all of them armed with bows and arrows, some of them with swords. They very much like a military landing party, like looking down on you as you sail between them. And as you do, another ship comes around the corner in front of you. It is an armored narrowboat, which has this like heavy iron plating all across the hull. It is bristling with deck guns. It has 4 on each side, so 8 in total. And at the lead of that particular, on the bow of that boat, there is a halfling wearing full armor with a head of very bright orange hair, currently not wearing his helmet, who Sela probably recognizes, having, like, if you've ever been near Harton, you would be aware of this person, Captain J. Copperbottom, who kind of waves at you all, looking confused and suspicious. You have passed the code, but you're a really weird ship, and you definitely haven't been here before. So I think they are.
Just hello. Howdy.
Yeah, we're all just sort of like.
They are looking especially suspicious at Jove. I would like you to describe to me what they see in terms of what do your characters?
Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun.
I loved it though. It was beautiful. It was wonderful, and it was a spectacular moment. And I love Jove. It's not a problem. But Zania, what do they see?
So, just giving them the biggest, like, most exaggerated bow, they see this river folk who I want you to imagine, like, has like this kind of like cool beta fish axolotl face with these sharp teeth. But she's like tricolored, so they see lots of purple, red, and white, and just this super like flamboyant, classic pirate captain attire. She definitely loves wearing a lot of like little bits of gold and like knickknacks here and there. But it's cool because she's also like super buff, like, you know, broad-shouldered. So she's just kind of making a show of it, going to the front and like leaning on the ropes, like, "Hello, my dear people."
Gorgeous. Amber, what do they see?
So they will see a slightly nervous-looking elf, sort of nervously waving, not quite sure what's going on. They're sort of quite, I think they're just maybe like a little bit shorter than Jove, but they're quite thin, quite skinny, and they're wearing the sort of typical sort of sailor garb of oversized white shirt, waistcoat, loose-fitting trousers, that sort of thing. Very much for running about on a ship and doing things quickly.
Gorgeous. And Lily, what do they see?
So, Sela is a halfling, in case that wasn't clear before, which is why she knows the code. But yeah, she is stout. Square would also be a good description of her bodily appearance. She's about 4 foot tall, which is, kind of in the middle of, it's a little bit taller than some halflings. They don't really get much taller than that. But she has deep brown skin. She's wearing her hair in braids. She has like wide eyes, like this kind of deceptively like friendly looking face. And she dresses completely in neutrals and in layers as well, like neutrals and earth tones in layers. And she also has sort of like a bit of posturing, I think, like after she threw down the flags, she like went and got her bespoke bow and arrow that she made herself. Halflings are master forgers, and she made this herself, and it's a little bit like a crossbow actually, because it collapses and it can be shot with one hand, and she kind of has that like slung over her shoulder, but she's like posed in kind of a way that every one of the halflings that passes by or sees her sees this bow and arrow, this bow right there. Like she's like, yeah, I got it.
I love that.
I love her tiny muscle.
Me too. And Shahik, so I've got a question for you. So we don't yet have your character as a member of our crew, but your character is looking for a boat. Now, we are likely as a group shortly going to arrive in Hearthon unless the players decide that they want to turn around and go back in the other direction, which I guess is always an option for you, but would be improbable and unhelpful in the situation.
I don't know, those lambs looked really cute.
But you would also know that the river patrol that is captained by Jay is the most likely kind of group element in Hearthon to meet strangers or find other ships. Like Hearthon itself is pretty hidden in the hills, and stays that way on purpose and defends its borders aggressively. So really the only way to meet strangers would be to be a part of the river patrol. Obviously being part of the river patrol, however, is dangerous. It means potentially coming into conflict. It means potentially having to respond to medical emergencies. So where do you think Aldred is right now? Do you think Aldred is back in Hearthon, or do you think Aldred is on the ship and part of the river patrol, like actively looking for stranger ships to jump onto?
I think what Aldred did is she took a wooden signpost, wrote on it, seeking ship to go to source, experienced doctor, and then she just like, as soon as she got to she was just walking to the shore area, whatever it is, like completely just not, just tired, don't want to, whatever, walked over, doom, 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 and then walked back because I need to buy some stuff in Hampton. And then just like on the back of the signpost, because I didn't have enough space on the front, it just says, wait for me here. I'll be back when I'm back.
Beautiful. I love that. I think that's beautiful. Okay, cool. So in that case, we do not yet meet Aldred. So what happens is instead, Captain Copperbottom pulls up alongside your ship. And Zadia, you said that Faye is kind of, being nice and melodramatic and sort of gloriously greeting these people.
Hello.
And so Captain Copperbottom kind of looks up at you as the engine of their narrowboat kind of comes to a stop. And their narrowboat is lower in the water than your barge, but not by much, because your barge has a pretty shallow hull. And this close you can smell the kind of slightly greasy petrol smell of it's not actually petrol, it's coal that's coming out, but it's got that kind of biting smell that you get from burning coal. And there's a little bit of like smoke and just warmth from the boat kind of coming across from being this close to it. And Jay looks at you, looks past you at Seela and at Seela's bow, and kind of seems to notice that there's a little tinge of admiration in there, and then refocuses on you, Faye, and says, "So, what's your business here?"
Well, clearly we're
just nudging Faye. Just being like, you're up.
My name is Captain Jay Copperbottom, and I'm captain of the Halfling Guard. And unless you give me a very good reason as to why you are in my waters, I'm going to recommend that you turn around and leave again, or else we will fire upon you indiscriminately. So what is your business?
Well, first off, I don't think that there's any need for this, but my name is Faye Halfmoon, of course. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Captain Faye Halfmoon.
Thank you. See, everybody knows.
Standing next to the captain, just like so badly already.
But we do have a very good reason for being here, and I do believe our friend here, and just nudges to right forward, can easily help me explain. Isn't that right?
Yes. Greetings. My name is Tarai. I am the first mate on this ship, and and we seek passage to the source.
Right, well, you're in the wrong place. This is Harton. The source is like quite a long way upriver.
Wait. No.
Over to you, Captain.
She's like looking at her map for a second, and then you just see like a very slow.
Okay. I'm just like, okay. Let me start over. We seek safe passage to the source after we stop in your port for supplies. Your beautiful port for supplies.
Are you going to leave the human here? Or are you expecting us to let a human into our village? Because we're not going to... I don't know. Because, listen, alright? Listen, I don't know you. And I have no fight with the river folk or with the elves.
Thank you.
But it was not long ago that the human empire wiped out one of our villages and killed every single person except one. So you might understand why we're not interested in letting strange humans into our towns. It is a matter of safety.
I think Jove will step forward at this point and sort of like is kind of watching these two have their time. I think he's used to their sort of style, but in this particular situation, he's like, maybe we need an adult, and so he's gonna step forward and say, I completely.
Oh, we're all talking today, apparently.
Oh, yes. Well, I understand your concerns. I would be happy to stay aboard the ship if that would make all of you feel more comfortable. I do have a fairly loaded purse that I would love to spend on your wares and goods to sort of promote your economy here. But again, it's up to you. I understand. I take no offense whatsoever if you'd like me to just stay here. I can do that. I live here, so that's fine.
We don't want your money.
That's understandable too.
Then Captain Copperbottom like kind of looks at Seela. How about you? What are you doing with this lot?
Adventure. What else? I'm interested in the destination, but I'm also interested in us getting there. And I've wanted to travel for a while now, and this is my way to do it. And I completely understand your animosity toward humans, but the war is over now, and this is one human that had nothing to do with that.
I understand. Again, honestly, I thank you. I appreciate you coming to my defense. I will just stay on the ship. Not a problem.
Hold on. I would like to say something here.
Okay.
Just... Yes, we will ask him to stay on the ship. However, I would like to put forth that he's a very trusted member of our crew. He is somebody that I will defend fully. So if it is an issue for him to even stay on the boat, then I think we will have a problem. But again, we are here very peacefully. We are here just to pass through, get some good supplies, go on our way. But please understand, please be respectful that, at least to us, this human is a very good man. And we will respect your rules, but just if you're going to bring this up, do not do it in front of me. Do not do it to him. He does not need to feel guilty at this moment.
Oh boy. Oh, Joven is getting uncomfortable. Like he does not want to be like, he is like, this is your home that we fucked up. 100% I will not step foot inside if you don't want me to. All good. And everyone's like, well, he's not hashtag not all Joves. And I'm like, no guys, no, dear God.
We all face just like, that's my boy, that's my boy.
So appreciated.
I just want to remind everyone that Jove is like dripping wet still.
Oh yeah.
And also a very old man. You know, the captain looks at Sela and says, will you vouch for him?
Absolutely.
Who made your bow?
I didn't get it.
Who made your bow?
I did.
You've arrived at an interesting time, Captain. Some of your people would say it was a fortuitous or perhaps spiritual coincidence, though I admit I am of a wavering faith these days and in these times. But it so happens today is the annual test of strength among our people. When the river folk defined the faces of the river, they tied strength to our settlements, as is proper. And in honor of that, every year, we hold Bravery Day at Carriage Falls. It's a waterfall not far from here, in which people can prove their strength, their mettle, their courage. You say this man is a vital member of your crew. You certainly have at least one competent sailor, and he points at Sela. People compete in the trials as a team, nominating a person each for each trial. If you compete in the trials and prove yourselves, then I will take it as a blessing from the face of strength, and you will be welcome to stay and purchase whatever wares you require. If you fail, we will escort you away from our settlements and you will not be welcome back. And if you do return, we will not hesitate in future. Do you understand?
Sela says absolutely, like right away. Doesn't even look at anybody else. Just, like already stepped forward and is like, yeah, let's get this started.
As soon as Sela says that, like Jay kind of, for the first time, like actually smiles and laughs a bit and goes, proper halfling courage. You'll learn something from them, you will. Right. Are the rest of you brave enough to join in, or will perhaps you betray your halfling crewmate this early in the day?
I would be honored to take part in your Katie forgot how to use words. Oh God.
As would I.
Your whole thing, your whole cool thing you're doing over there. Super into it. Let's go.
We accept your terms.
Yes, I would be honored to participate. Yes.
I could never say no to a challenge.
All right.
We know.
Just looking over the little pal like, oh, like,
No,
come on.
we've noticed that, Captain.
It's more fun that way. You gotta put your whole heart into it. You have to have faith in it.
So you all, having agreed to this, Jay turns around to their crew, says something, and the halfling narrowboat, which is this kind of like low engine-driven boat, starts like reversing, but then you realize that it has like wheels at both ends, and someone is helming it in the other direction, taking it back down kind of one of these winding rivers between the hills. You follow them, and before long you come upon the village of Harton. You know you have found your way to Harton actually well before you see it, because you smell it, you taste it in the air. Burning wood, hot metal, hammers. You hear the kind of clanging and beating of steel. You hear people like chanting, and the sounds of people like fighting and training. You see kind of soldiers like going through routines of like spears, swords, the clashing of metal on wood as swords and shield practice. You hear like the whistle of arrows hitting targets. You can smell like all of this freshly cut wood, and the smell of the engines and the forges. And then you see the town itself, a beautiful, beautiful town, full of these like finely worked wood and stone buildings, many of which have kind of like grass and flowers growing from the roofs, and many of which have chimneys pumping smoke into the sky from various fires. You also quite quickly notice two things. One of them is lots and lots of narrowboats, much like the one Jay met you with, all heavily armed, all heavily armored, moored in this kind of belly of the river here, near the township, like all around kind of the banks, where there are various jetties set up as if to allow for soldiers to like board them quite quickly in the case of an emergency. And besides this sort of somewhat intimidating atmosphere of industry and militarism and strength, there is just this one handmade sign stuck into the bank that says, you know, looking for a boat going to the source.
Just pointing like.
I just want to say, if this was you know, cinema, as we approached Houghton, and that smell and the sound and the soldiers, you would see Sela looking sort of wistful, and there would be, you know, some sort of swelling music, and there'd be like a flashback of her like in her own village where there is none of this at all. It's just like people being friendly to each other, and there's no weapons making, there's no like soldier training, and then you the picture like goes deep into the woods, and like the trees get so shaded it looks like it's night now, and then there's like a little shack with like a huge amount of smoke like coming out of it, and hidden deep into the forest is Sela like making like different types of things at this hidden forge.
I love that, and I will add that when in the movie of this moment we cut back to the present, the camera moves across this beautiful town. We see in the distance that waterfall that Jay mentioned, massive and kind of pouring over in the background of the town, much taller than any of the buildings. But we zoom in from Sela's perspective on what is perhaps the biggest and most gilded building in the whole town, certainly the most respected and wealthiest, which has a sign which proclaims Ragnar's in big, beautiful lettering, and which Sela would know is the home of the Ragnar family, specifically Poppy Ragnar, the matriarch of the Ragnar family, who is known to be the greatest weaponsmith who has ever lived, and the pride of Harton. In the moment, however, your boat moors. You kind of pull up along the jetty and weigh anchor, tie yourself off at the jetty. You are able to disembark. But before we see that happening, I want to switch across to Uldred. So you said that you'd got into town to get some supplies. Where are you now?
Yes, but before that, could we name? You mentioned that was a village that was pillaged by the humans. Could we name it, please?
Yes. Do you want to name it, or do you want me to suggest a name for you?
I thought of a name, but you can come up with one too if you.
I think it is your village. You should name it.
Well, spoilers, Ella. Jeez.
The cinema!
I was trying to be subtle about it.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Oh yeah, just Fana. Just Fana.
Fana.
Not based on anything, just random letters and sounds. Yes, that's all. So basically the reason I am in the market is because I am looking for ingredients for poison. Because that is something I do.
Poison? Recreationally,
yes.
or?
This is a hobby.
Folks, and
Dabble.
On Tuesdays. Yes.
That will not have taken you long, especially if you were looking for mineral components. There are a lot of kind of like minerals and general chemicals that are used also in forging that are pretty easily accessible in Hearton. There are also a lot of herbs. It's a very like rural landscape. There are a lot of fields.
It does say, however, that I would make people suspicious if they're sort of medically knowledgeable. If I was going around buying poison ingredients.
Well, that is fair. And since you suggested that, give me a D12 plus your tongues, please.
Yeah, you don't go to Home Depot and get all of the meth supplies. You like go to the Home Depot and then you go to the London Drugs and then you spread it out. That's how you get caught.
I want people suspicious because I want to fucking.
Oh, then get in that Home Depot, fill up your cart, fill your business.
That's an 11.
Allegedly.
So 13.
13 is a great success. So yeah, no one's suspicious. Your tongues reflect like your ability to lie and present yourself in certain ways. You don't have the deception knack, but in this particular circumstance, I'm going to say that you're not outright trying to lie to one individual. We're more rolling for the overall experience. So I'm happy to just call it a tongues roll. So yeah, you don't draw any great attention. But what I will say is that whilst you're in this marketplace, like looking for things, you notice a brand new ship coming in that is visibly extremely different to all the halfling ships, and obviously is a bunch of visitors.
I make a mental
face
note of
on the
that.
sail.
I just make a mental note of that. And another thing, I did want to clarify, how is poison used? Can I use it as like a thrown weapon, or does the person have to consume it?
It depends on what you make, and that will also depend on the roll you get when you make it. I'm gonna say that for now, I'm gonna save us doing any poison making until we've kind of got all of our players in the same place and we've kind of joined up the crew. But you are welcome to make some poison later if you'd like to, and you can tell me what kind of thing you'd like to make it for.
Okay. I also do think I need to roll for it says 44 silver per dose, how much I need to spend.
Yes,
So-
roll please.
Yes, I am buying 4 doses. Is that
Okay, so you will need to roll 60. Well, roll 44.
Just
4
4 times? Yes.
I don't want to bring things always back to poison, but I do need to figure out this poison.
That is pretty. Okay, I got lucky there. That's 2 1s and 2 2s, so 4, 5, 6. 6 for the first one. Do I need to do that 3 more times, or just?
We'll just multiply it. So let's say 24 silver.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Wait, no, sorry. That would be 4. Yeah, 24 silver. I have dyscalculia. Okay.
Oh, bestie.
Hey, and we still like RPGs.
Yay! Just make other people do our math.
Yeah, okay, so, cool. So yes, you are down a bit of silver. You notice these people coming into the harbor. Now, Aldred, you would also be aware that it is Bravery Day. This is a big deal to the town of Harton. It is actually a big deal to all the halfling settlements nearby, with the exception of the settlement that Lily's character Seela grew up in, for reasons that have already been alluded to. But for every other halfling settlement, Bravery Day at Carriage Falls is like a really big regional cultural annual event. And so people kind of submit teams from all across this region, like all across the valleys. People travel quite a long way in some cases to get here to come and like prove themselves. And obviously Harton always has a team. Harton usually wins, just because like A, it is the biggest halfling settlement, and B, they are, I guess in a lot of ways the most prestigious, which is to say that a lot of kind of the best warriors and the best weaponsmiths specifically move to Harton, which
So
means
District
that... Sorry?
Yeah,
District 2.
it's also like if this event was being took place in where you live, you would take it more seriously than if there's some event somewhere, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like if someone like in a village, like, you know, 50 miles away, like knows about Bravery Day, like maybe one person in that village really cares. Like everyone is aware of it, but most people just kind of go to watch. But there's like one person who's like, I'm gonna go to the Olympics. Whereas like in Harton, it's like, no, we host the Olympics every year, so like it's important to us. But anyway, you would be well aware of this. You would be well aware that most people in town have already gone up to the waterfall, or will be going there quite soon for the start of the event. So you kind of notice like lots of different people, and they're all wearing different symbols. Often they're quite prominently displayed. They are patches sewn into their clothing. They are necklaces in the shape of cards. There are masks. Some people are wearing like actual masks made of wood or metal or porcelain. And these are people's various interpretations of the face of strength. There is a belief on the river that the river god has 22 faces, and that each of these faces appears depending on how the river god feels about you and where you're at in life, what aspect of the god is going to present itself to you. The face of strength is the one tied to Harton, and Bravery Day is very much tied to strength. So a lot of people are kind of going up and invoking the face of strength today of all days, in, you know, hopes to support their chosen champions or to compete themselves.
What kind of competitions does Bravery Day have?
It has various tests of combat and strength and generally prowess. There is a brawling contest, an archery contest, a contest to try and cross the river whilst carrying a heavy weight, specifically to cross the Giant's Causeway, which is a set of large stones that you have to jump from one to the other across Whitewater Rapids. And the final and most challenging test is to swim the river, which underneath the waterfall is extremely powerful. It moves very fast, and it requires a lot of physical strength to even swim across it. If a team wins at all of these, and a lot of these as well, like it's not only doing the thing, it's in crossing the causeway and swimming the river, it's doing it the fastest, it's getting there first. In the archery contest, it is, you know, showing the greatest prowess. In the brawl, it is winning the fight. If a team gets the most wins, then they win the whole day, and they are awarded with 2 special awards. One, a piece of the map to the crystal nets, allegedly. Ooh. And the other, Harton's Hammer, which is a golden enchanted pendant that comes with a magical blessing. It is set from the face of strength.
Yeah, we'll take the map.
Yeah, we'll take the map. Maybe a side of poison. No.
The other person's like, oh, cool.
So yeah, Aldred, you've seen the ship coming in. You know everyone's heading up to the falls. You've got your poison ingredients. What would you like to do? Where are you going?
Well, you can't just go and join a team, right?
Only if they needed a person to help them compete.
And if I went around and asked, nobody needs a person, right?
There isn't a halfling team that needs a person. This is like a important event. Most people will have been planning this for the whole year.
Oh yeah, we're just walking around going, oh, shit, we don't have enough people in our group. Wow.
It's just like, how many people do we need?
Way to
Just,
compete.
oh no, one shot. Oh, that's not
Wait, fuck! I thought it was 4.
I mean, like, I'm like half a person for this one. I'm gonna cheer from the sidelines, my friends.
Oh God,
I'm-
no!
I'm-
If you
I'm
won,
getting-
I would say that you cheated. I'm
I'm
sorry.
too old for this shit. Okay.
She's
You
just
guys
like,
go have your swim times.
she's just like, come on, Jovi, just like puff yourself up. You're fine. You're fine.
I move better in the water.
Yes. Did the crew? I'm actually just gonna walk back to my signpost for now. I might come back, but yes.
Okay, so crew, you are getting off your ship, and someone walks up to that signpost that says, "I'm looking for a boat to take me to the source," and like sits down next to it.
I
Sorry,
think,
that was just perfectly.
I think Zila, I mean, yeah, so Aldred is another halfling, and Zila has not actually really had a lot of experience like socializing with actual halflings that are halfling like. Her village was not at all. So Zila sees the sign and sees Aldred and points to it, and then looks at the rest of everyone else and says,
Hey, we're going there.
Oh,
we need them. like, just like you. We need you.
You. Yeah, should we go? Wait, am I allowed off the ship? Was the
You
Yes,
are
okay.
allowed off the ship if
Okay.
you are with your crew,
yeah.
and if, like everyone's competing in Bravery Day to prove
it.
that their decision to work with you is not a bad idea.
Got it.
yeah.
Should we go talk to them?
Should I describe what I look like?
I would love that.
Okay. Well, I am actually. I know Sela said that she is kind of tall for a halfling, 4 foot. Yeah, haha! I'm even taller.
Right, calm down, Pippin.
I'm a whole half-inch taller. Let's go.
No, I'm pretty. Well, actually, I thought that the average height for a halfling was 3 foot, so I made my character 4 foot something, or just 4 foot. And then Sela said, I'm 4 foot, and I was like, no, I want to be tall for a halfling. So I changed it to 4 foot.
So you're just wearing
4.
heels. You're actually the same height, but you're wearing heels. So you never take them off.
Yes. But they're covered by my pants, so you don't know until I'm... Okay. Yeah, I'm 4'4". I've got sort of gingerish, but mostly brown hair. It's tied up in a tight ponytail. It's not too long. It's just like, well, I guess this height. And I'm wearing basically very monotone black, whatever clothes. A sort of leathery, I don't know if I can call it a jacket. I don't know if that was a thing back then. I'm not saying I had a zip.
You can have a jacket.
Okay, I'm wearing like a leather jacket, but not in a cool way. Just in like it's comfortable and is safe from like rain and is pretty cool, good enough. It's safe and comfortable, and you do kind of I think get a peek maybe of like a bit of yellow, like a yellow undershirt, but mostly everything else is just like. And I've got like a big ass backpack.
Poison.
Yes, of course. And I've got like a I've got like a glass with like a skull on it, and there's like green coming out of it, and yeah, I'm just drinking out of it.
We all need a ship emo.
Well, like also just like I like the idea that in the joke world, Sela sees the massive glass with the skull and crossbones, and it's like we need them. Like, it's just like,
we need some serious energy on this
Ooh.
boat.
I'm also about the human equivalent of, the equivalent of like early 30s, whatever that is for halflings.
that's
but-
roughly the same.
Okay.
So okay, beautiful. Thank you. So Sela sees Aldred and is like, we need them. There is a general murmur of agreement, if I recall correctly.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
You are all allowed to get off your ship, and you wouldn't have to be very far to meet Aldred. Now, both Aldred and Sela to an extent, although it's up to you, Lily, how much Sela will be aware of this, but certainly Aldred is aware of the tests at Bravery Day, specifically like archery, brawling, crossing the Giant's Causeway, which is kind of jumping from one large stone to another whilst holding a very heavy weight without falling in the river as fast as possible, and swimming the river. So
Yeah, Sela would be aware. I think actually she's probably over the years randomly snuck out and snuck out of her own village and walked the like 30 miles to Houghton so she could just kind of spy on and see this Bravery Day happening.
that makes me really, really happy. So Sela will have been able to, as you sailed into Houghton, kind of tell you all that these were the challenges that you'd be coming up against. So you might even before you meet Aldred now, have had to think about like who might be able to do what. Sela would have been able to tell you you're only allowed to enter one person per contest. And the team has to try and win as many contests as possible. Casey, you kind of lightly said Jove was like, meh, definitely not me, but I just want to confirm, do you think that Jove in character would have been like, I can't do this?
I mean, I think you'd be thinking about all of the types of things that it is, and they're all like strength based, and that's just not his thing in any way. Like he was like, he probably move better in the water, but like he's not going to be carrying weight and jumping across causeways. Like he's not going to be doing any of that kind of stuff. And also like even archery, like I don't think he's a fighter. he's a cook. Like but like I think he'd probably be a little bit like not sure what to do, because like he can't do a lot of those things, and also will look like a little bitch if he doesn't do those things. And they're like doing and they're doing it for like, they're letting him participate to like prove himself that he's not a terrible human.
Actually raises a really interesting point. So this is something that Sela would also be able to tell you, but you have the culture knack. So what I'd like you to do, please, is give me a roll, d12, and add your tongues. I also want us to be aware, Lily, because Sela is following the path of strength, whilst in the location of strength, you roll all your rolls with advantage. You should be aware of
Cool. Look at us with our little ace in the hole.
And they've been here before, so like, I
mean, honestly, like it feels like a win-win today.
Am I my tongues?
Yes, tongues.
That's a 10 in total.
Cool. Okay. 10 in total is enough for this. Katie, what Jove knows about halflings, because if you don't mind me revealing, I think Jove is interested in the other cultures of the river. I don't want to give too much away.
No, you can, yeah. He's definitely like done a bit of traveling in his life. That's sort of like he's spent his life like traveling up and down the river as far as he can get with whoever will take him to try to like learn more about the other cultures other than the humans. Cool. That's definitely been like a whole thing.
So as a result of that, he actually does know a bit about halfling culture. One of the things he knows about halfling culture is it is not uncommon for people living in halfling settlements to become disabled in some way. Because halflings so strongly prize feats of strength and daring, accidents happen. People get injured. And so disability especially physical disability, is not uncommon among halfling settlements. And so someone choosing not to compete in a feat of strength because they have any kind of physical disability that would make it harder for them to do it is not seen as dishonorable. The other thing that he knows about halflings culturally is that no, actually, usually a lot of this game is like about contradicting those tropes. No, like I love those tropes, but it's more about
hey, you want to hear something new?
Tell a different story. I think, like, and also think about like why we have those ideas in the first place.
So can't cook, can't strong, can't fly, can't crow.
I think it's more that there are no racialized traits.
Cool.
But like culturally, what they value very much is the strength of the group. So for a halfling, like who's grown up in a settlement like Harton, it's not about whether Jove himself competes; it's about whether Jove's team competes. Like if the whole team doesn't compete, then he is refusing their challenge, and then he is being a coward. And specifically what it shows is that you have a weak team. You're not interested in supporting each other. You're not interested in kind of coming through for each other.
Yeah, I'm just a coach now, and that's fine. I used to play back in the day, got it injured, had to sit out, you know, so it's fine. Now I'm just here to make you delicious carbo loads before you go, and you know, make plays on a fantasy whiteboard. And,
here's your tobacco-infused protein shake. But yeah.
Why do you think Faith's so buff?
The buff fish you've ever seen. So
we hand out the protein shakes to our other contestants as well, but it's actually my poison.
Okay, well, we
let's
haven't
not do that.
talked to you yet, so let's not do that.
We got a human cook. We can't risk it this time.
No poisoning, no poisoning.
We are coming up on a break. So, before we go to break, I want you all to meet each other. So, you've had this conversation on the ship on the way here. Jove, you have, like, thought about what you know about halfling culture. You have, like, kind of come to the understanding that, like, it wouldn't be frowned upon for you not to compete. Although, obviously, people would be pleased if you did. They also won't be displeased if you don't. You know, Sela sees this halfling on the bank sitting next to a sign that says, "Take me to the source," which is specifically where you're all going, which is not a place most people go. We'll cover that in the second half, but you all head over. Who says hi?
So I go over to Aldred and I go, "Sorry, are you also waiting for this person, or are you the sign person?"
Emma, I love you so much. I don't know if this is just who you are as a person or this is an incredible character acting, but I love it either way.
I think I'm gonna be like snacking on like from like a container. No!
That's metal.
Only on Tuesdays, please. I told you. No, I've got like a container. I'm just like snacking on like carrots or whatever, and it's like sign person.
Great. Okay, that's good. We don't have to wait. Amazing. So you're a doctor?
Yeah. So yeah. It says yeah.
Okay. Hi. My name is Tarai. I'm the first mate on the Prestige over here. This is my captain. This is Captain Huffman. And this is our gunner, Sela. And this is our cook, Joven. What's your name?
Hello. Yes, hi. Joven, last name redacted.
I think when I look over at Joven, I'm gonna have this sort of there's pain in my face. Not as in I've got like a spasm in my ear or something, but like I look over and I'm just like, and I look back at the captain and I point with my carrot and like, "That your ship?"
That it is.
All right. And I get up, I get my sign. And I say, I like point with the sign, and I say, "Let's go do the Bravery challenge. I need to fight somebody."
Oh, I like her.
I like her too.
Oh yeah.
I like her more.
We needed more young energy.
I like
on
her
the ship,
best.
you know? Yes. I like her tallest.
Now, hold on. If anybody's gonna like her tallest, it's going to be me. But you're going to the
Stila
source,
looks incredibly offended by the tallest.
Just looks down. She's immediately like, "Okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I regret that. As soon as it came out of my mouth. But yes, that is our ship.
Sensitive, sounds sensitive. God, inappropriate.
Yeah.
To be fair,
we
said
are
it first, and she points at the human.
Yeah.
Don't know what you're
And I'm
talking
just gonna start walking back to. I think I'm actually gonna hand the sign to whoever is closest because I don't need it anymore and I don't want to be holding it anymore.
He's gonna be
and
Takes it very casually, tosses it behind her.
And I'm gonna walk back to Hutton.
Xenia,
okay, we're gonna go.
so several things happen. First of all, Xenia, when Faye tosses this sign and objectively litters in this town, you notice like 3 different heavily armed.
Joe goes to pick it up. Joe goes to pick it up.
Can't do that here.
Joe just like hobbles over and like kind of like awkwardly reaches down and like picks it up, and now he's got like cane in one hand, sign in the other, and is like, okay, it's good.
Look, so I want to say she sees that. She sees Jove save the day, and then just kind of passes back like, "See, free brownie points. You're doing fine."
Yep, just kind of like tries to like wave at them and like, sorry, but has things in both hands and is like,
He's waving this sign saying, "I'm a doctor looking to go to the
sorry.
source."
Please, I'm a doctor. Have mercy.
Oh my god, that's gonna get around all through Harton that there's this human there with this sign saying, "I'm a doctor, I'm going to the source," like a fucking idiot. This stupid human.
There are gonna be like stories in the barracks about this for like the next decade of like, oh yeah, that reminds me, one time I saw this human and like he came to our town. Yeah, it's
wow, way to take away credit from a halfling.
Jove is sweating again.
I love you guys.
Somebody give water to this man.
Yeah, Tarai just takes the sign and just goes, "Thank you."
So after this mess is resolved, you know, Aldred heads off, and I'm gonna suggest, as we come up to our break, that if it's okay with you, Lily, I'm gonna say that Seela leads the way for the rest of the group after like Aldred, because you know the way. Yeah, because you've been here before, and for the first time, you don't have to go this way in hiding, which means that this time you get to walk with the crowd. And this time you get to walk with a crowd of people who like the things that you like. People who are excitedly chattering to each other, like are being like, oh my, have you seen Merryweather this year? I'm absolutely certain Merryweather is gonna nail the swimming. And someone else is being like, oh well yeah, but like Frank is gonna like absolutely kill the Giants Causeway. And like someone else is going like, oh yeah, but like Amelia with the archery, I mean, come on, did you see her last year? Like, and there's just this kind of general like excited sports fan kind of chatter happening as people head along. People have got ribbons woven into their hair. They are, many of them, wearing like leather or metal armor. Many of them have swords, hammers, great axes, bows, crossbows, like all kinds of weapons. They aren't hiding them. They're quite proud of them, and it's not in a way of like threat at this point for this time of year, because everyone else in the crowd is a halfling. Like, this is much more of a like, yeah, we're good at this and we like this. Yes. Like it's for everyone else, this is like people's weapons are not just shown on display, but they're often in like kind of decorative scabbards. They have like beautiful quivers which have like embroidery or gilding on them. Like, this is very much a day of being like, yeah, we're good at this and we love it and we're so proud of this, like culturally, and this is our day to show that. And people are just, there's this absolute like buzz in the air, and you'd felt it before when you kind of snuck out when you went here before, but you'd always felt it from a distance, and now you're just in an ocean of it, like this ocean of excitement and strength. And like Xenia, also Faye, as someone following the path of the sun, you're feeling a lot of like sun energy here as well as the strength of like just this vitality, and like the sun is shining down on you, and it's this open blue sky day, and you can feel like strength coursing through your veins. It feels so right to be here. Jove, as someone walking the path of the world, you also very much feel this. You're so surrounded by an experience that is so different to like A, what you've experienced before, but B, like there's so many different perspectives all around you, and you can feel like that like absolute milieu of all these different like villages and towns, and like everyone's like slightly different approach to this day, like coming together in this absolute cultural melting pot.
Totally. And like so grateful to be included in something like that. Like I think he's like taken up as little space as possible, but is just like watching everything and so much joy of just like excitement all around him, you know?
And I think, like, as he's enjoying that, like, these couple little halfling kids are fully having a sword fight, like, on the walk. You know, in that way that children do, where they've got these tiny little wooden swords. They do not care that they are blocking traffic. And they just, like, come, like, tackling each other in front of you, Jove. One of them trips over right in front of your feet and looks up at you. And he's got this, like, massive black curly hair, this light brown skin, big brown eyes. And then he kind of looks up at you and just, like, pokes your shin.
See, you gotta watch your feet when you're sword fighting. You gotta watch your feet.
The other kid, who has this kind of like long kind of auburn hair, like squeals and goes, "Yeah, see, it's all about the footwork."
It's all everyone thinks it's all about the footwork. Job doesn't know fucking anything about sword fighting. He's like, it's just something he's heard some dude being like, you know, it's all about the footwork, and you know.
The worst part is he probably heard that from Faye of all people.
Oh, probably, yeah.
And as this like other kid like says that, they just tackle the little boy and just like they just roll out of the way, like, and his mom just disappear into the crowd.
Get him.
Can I just clarify something?
Yes.
Earlier when I said that I turn back and walk back to Hutton, did you think that I meant I leave the group? Because I
thought you meant you were walking at the front of the group.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Just wanted to clarify. There you go.
No worries. Like lastly, what I will say is, Tarai, as someone following the path of the Wheel of Fortune, you are also buzzing a little bit in this environment. There is so much chance happening all around you. There are people laying bets. There are quite a lot of people laying bets. You are noticing various bookies. Like.
Gonna be a lot of big risks.
Question. I would love to know if Tarai is laying bets. We are gonna find that out after the break. But there are definitely people taking bets. There are people, like, even if they're not actually betting money or items, like they are like excitedly talking about what's gonna happen. There are a lot of people who are taking risks. There are people, you can see archers getting ready and kind of, you know, praying to their good luck. You can see like people who are getting ready to like go on the Giant's Causeway, even like really hoping their footing doesn't slip. Everyone is invoking fortune all around you, and so you too can feel the presence of like your path and the face of your god, like in this moment as you all walk up to the falls. And as you do, Aldred at the front of the line, you're the first person who hears the like absolute roar of the waterfall crashing down into the landscape, and you look up and it is this silver white mountain of water that is falling from an impossible height down into this like absolute rushing river of white and blue water, peppered with these enormous stones that do look as if they were dropped there by giants. And there is a parade of people in brightly colored clothes with beautiful weapons getting ready to prove their strength on Bravery Day at Carriage Falls. And that is where we're going to take our break. We will come back in about 10 minutes time. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember,
I could listen to you just describe things forever.
Right? I'm like, oh, this is wonderful.
Absolutely.
For folk, as you go on your break, please remember to take your meds, stay hydrated, and please consider subscribing to this Twitch and also the Girls Run These Worlds YouTube channel. We run ad breaks during the break to keep pre-roll ads off the air for the final hour of the game. So please bear with us, and we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you. Okay, so hello. Slowly but surely, I'm learning how to be on a Twitch stream, and I'm so glad that you've all joined me for this experience. Hello, and welcome back to Upriver Downriver. I am your GM, Ella. We are halfway through our first session of the campaign. If you've missed the first half, you will be able to watch it back on YouTube if you'd like to. Check out the Girls Run These Worlds YouTube channel. In the first half of our game, we were introduced to our wonderful crew as they arrived in the location of the valleys in this game, specifically the halfling town of Harton. They just so happened to arrive in Harton on the day of Bravery Day at Carriage Falls, this big annual event where halflings from all across the region come to prove their strength and courage in honor of the face of the river, of which they are most beloved, which is the face of strength. And after a somewhat tense standoff, which included a little confusion, the halflings kind of challenged our crew to compete at Bravery Day and prove through their courage and through their strength as a team that they were trustworthy. And by halfling standards, if you can kind of perform these feats of strength, then you are someone who is to be trusted and respected because you have been favored by the face of strength. If they fail, they will never be welcome here again, which is probably a bigger problem for our two halfling crewmates than most of the others, though hey, if anyone else wants to ever come back, this will also be a problem.
Hold on! I was not there when all of this was being told. I was not
But you're
warned.
part of the team now.
If
I am not a part of this.
You have, however, joined their team. So you have made it your problem, unfortunately.
You're in it now, baby.
You gave your consent, so woo!
You're on the wanted list now.
Let's get back into it. There are 4 challenges today on Bravery Day at Carriage Falls. Each challenge is a challenge of a strength or courage. So all of these challenges are going to be using your sword's stat. And many of them are also going to be using your knacks. So knacks are something that haven't come up yet in the game we've played so far. But knacks are sort of specialists. So, oh yes, your culture did come up. Yes, thank you, Katie. Knacks are specialist skills. So, generally speaking, in Upriver Downriver, whilst you might roll for perception in terms of I might make someone do a d12 and some spirits, it's not something that no one can do, or that one person will have to have trained in seeing things. But there are other things that you do need training in, like first aid or surgery or doing magic. And if you don't have a knack in that area, you roll at disadvantage. Whereas if you have a knack, you either get a straight roll, or in certain circumstances, you might be able to get advantage or give someone else advantage. So it's worth kind of being aware of those as we go into this. There's one other thing that's worth being aware of, which is Amber. Your character, Tarai, is a first mate of the Wheel of Fortune, and that means that they have a specific ability. Could you please explain that ability to us?
So, because I am following the path of the Wheel of Fortune at the start of every session, I have to roll a d12, and then at any time during the session, I can use the result of that d12 to replace any roll. And that can be my roll, it can be any of the players' rolls, or it can be an opponent's roll as well in combat. So it's very, very handy. It ties in with the idea that Tarai is somebody who likes taking risks and likes gambling. So yeah, I forgot to do that at the start of the session, so we're going to do it now.
Hooray! Hey, better late than ever.
That is an 8, so I'll write that down.
Okay. Good to know. All right. So you've got 4 different challenges that you need to compete in. The brawl. Brawling is a skill with a knack. So if you don't have the knack, you roll at disadvantage. The archery contest, again, a skill with a knack. Crossing the Giant's Causeway, so that's jumping from stone to stone through this fast-moving river whilst holding something heavy. I will, spoiler alert, tell you that probably the skills that are going to be relevant here are going to be to do with strength, dexterity, climbing. And finally, swim the river. You have to swim from one side to the other as fast as possible. The swimming knack will come in handy here.
What?
Surprise!
You're like a fish. You're probably fine.
I mean, I've dabbled a little bit here and there in water.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
Paddle.
I paddled a little bit.
I've got my shins wet
Lord.
now and then.
So, having assembled your team, you are going to need to choose who is doing what. So does anyone have an idea of a contest they really want to take part in? Or, yeah, any thoughts?
So I have dexterity and climbing. So I'm going to go for Giant's Causeway because I have disadvantage in water. So swimming's definitely out. And I'm a little bean. So I probably shouldn't be doing any fighting. And I don't have any other like knacks that will fit into that.
Okay.
I'm gonna take brawling, even though I don't have the brawling knack, but I don't think anybody else does.
I
So
do,
this is your cue.
actually.
Oh.
Well, never mind.
But I have both brawling and archery, and I'm gonna say that Sela is gonna humble brag, like
You
pat
made your own bow.
her crossbow and just be like,
I got this.
Go off.
you know what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Go off, queen. Yeah, I'll take brawling in that case as a yeah.
What I
Because
will
I
say is
also want to fight somebody, as I said earlier. Go ahead, Ella. Sorry.
fight. What I will also say is that if you have the relevant knack, you can give advantage to your fellow players. So it could be that Sela / Lily will perhaps give you some help there if she wants to. So Xania does
I'll
that
be like,
leave you with-
huddle up.
Yeah, we're all just like, okay, what are we going to do? Okay.
So when you
Are we-
fight,
I
you
guess
wanna put your thumb here and not here, and you wanna sucker punch, and then okay.
Discombobulate.
You're good.
don't hold your thumb when you punch, please.
No.
It doesn't matter how big they are. They all have a neck.
And some of them have balls. That's also
I mean,
Oh, that's in my experience. That's very important. That's very important.
it hurts.
It hurts so bad.
Are we
Hey,
actually?
Macro leaves. Oh,
Are
sorry.
we actually-
Sorry, Ella.
I was just like, are we? Are we trying to win? Do we think that we can? Do we think that we can win, or are we just trying to
we
do our
are
best?
definitely trying to. It doesn't even matter what
Okay.
anybody else is saying. Like Sela just talks
Yeah.
over everybody. It's
Okay,
like,
all right.
we're winning.
Okay. I think the only thing I'm gonna help definitely. Also, I could probably do the swimming. I don't have that knack, but in my headcanon, Jove, he spends a lot of time in the river because it's easier to move in the river for him than it is to walk. And so he's actually a pretty good swimmer. And when he communes with the river, he just takes off his clothes and goes skinny dipping. So he's
Which one is Captain Halfmoon doing?
I was gonna do the.
Oh, you're doing the swimming? How many things are there? I forget.
There are 4 things.
Oh, okay. Then I don't need
Yeah,
to.
we
Then
have
I don't need to
yeah.
swim. That's
I
fine.
would like to say she was
Bring
kind of
us
listening to you
snacks.
doing your Tyrad and stuff, and she's just like,
Yeah.
So
I mean, I
first
think
snacks first, and we're good.
Jill can be the one with a towel to blot our foreheads
Yes.
and passes water.
totally. Yeah. I mean,
Water bottle to spray on your face.
I have
Whatever.
a few,
Yeah,
I have a
like
few
it.
knacks that maybe I can use to help. For example, I would love. I think that he would make food for sure, and use his create comfort knack, and just make sure everyone's it's gonna be healthy food, lots of protein, but tasty still, and then I also have the art knack, and so I think he whittles. Because that's I think a very old man thing to do, and so I think he's just gonna while he's watching, he'll just sort of whittle figures of you guys doing the feats, or or just interesting, if the boulder you have to carry across or whatever is interesting looking, he'll make a little version of it, or maybe little trophies that he'll leave at the bottom, whether it says you won or you participated, but
little participation awards. Oh!
Yeah, just I think just little somethings to give you guys to commemorate your experience here, kind of thing. So that's what he's gonna be the soccer dad.
So there's 2 things here. So one of them is right now, Casey for Jove, give me a D12 roll plus your tongues. And this is for your create comfort knack, which is actually a magical knack for people who know anything about Upriver Downriver. Normally, magic is rolled with spirits. For every other member of the crew, they have to use spirits. But Jove specifically can use tongues because he is a cook of the world. And so his magic comes from his people skills, from stories and songs and being in the world, rather than from book reading or from ritual or from institutions. So what did you get?
12.
Amazing. That's a great success. So what I am going to translate that to is that you make this food for the rest of your crew. And what that means is that everyone else, you will get to re-roll one of your rolls at least once. Which is to say that, like, as you kind of steady yourselves, you get rid of the stage fright, and whatever doubtful thing or nervous step that was gonna happen, you are steadied by this food that you eat.
Yeah, I can't stop playing a bard even when there's no bards in the game.
We love a good bard.
I know.
I've got a question.
Yes.
So if I do get advantage from Sela, am I able to do both, re-roll, and then also have advantage? So is that like double advantage?
I think we'll probably say that you can get one for each roll. So rather than stacking it, we'll just say that like you either get one or the other for now. Just because of the kind of game this is, it encourages you to fail as much as it encourages you to succeed. So I'm going to say that we're not going to let you stack advantages. Okay, so there's a couple things that I want to know, and I want us to like get into the competition. But before we do, I do really want a very quick description from you, Casey, because what I want to know is, does Jove know that he does magic when he cooks? Or is this just something he's always done and the river kind of moves through him, and it has, because it's a very subtle effect and it's a very social effect. So it would be easy for him to believe it was just food. He also is a human. He probably grew up around other humans. In the human empire, knowledge of magic is forbidden. So he wouldn't have had a lot of access to knowledge about magic since his very, very, very early childhood.
Yes.
So
I think like given the fact that in his very early childhood he came in contact with some Kiwi and some elves and some halflings and things, that sort of, how do I say this? Like, I don't think he knows that he's doing magic. I think that like he's learned some things from them and it has changed the way that he is as a person. And so he just thinks that's like just him, you know, that like he can make really good food to help people, and like he's just like good at chatting with people, and except for when they hate him, but he still tries. And you know, I don't think he's like, yes, I'm casting magic now, but I think he's like spiritual versus like arcane kind of thing, right? Like he's just more like, he can feel stuff happening, I think, when he's making it, but I think he just like, to him it's like that's part of it. It's just like, you know, everyone feels this way when they cook, if they like cooking kind of thing.
I love that a lot. I also want to note, before we move away from Jove and get into the first contest, which will be brawling, that the last thing we kind of see as we cut away is there is this black halfling. He looks to be in his like 80s, maybe, like deep set wrinkles, and he has this like gray afro hair, but it's kind of been burned off in places in these like weird little chaotic tufts. Very much a mad scientist kind of look on this guy. He's got these like glasses that have got like 7 different lenses on them. He's carrying this bag that is just like bursting with like various kind of implements, and he is like making a beeline through the crowd, like straight towards you, Jove. Like, and not in a hostile way. He just looks so excited and fascinated by your like appearance in this town, and he is on his way to you. And we will resolve that shortly. But meanwhile, the brawling contest is starting. Announcers have kind of stood up. There is this halfling woman. She is a fat woman with long braided white hair. She is wearing kind of this big apron, this kind of blacksmith's apron. She is accorded a lot of reverence by everyone around her, and she's standing on this rock, like in front of where the waterfall is crashing, like apparently like completely unbothered by the like thousands of tons of water just like falling down immediately behind her. She's so unflustered by this. And she kind of like puts her arms wide, and her arms are like freckled but also covered in scars and like burn scars and cut scars and all these kinds of things. And she says, "Welcome, everybody, to Bravery Day at Carriage Falls. Today is the moment where you prove to the face of strength, to our face, to our part of the river, that you truly hold the values that we hold dear, that you are brave, that you are strong, that you are noble, and that you will work together. My name is Poppy Ragnar. I have provided some of the weapons available today, but please do not let that bias you. All of our contestants, even our strange new arrivals, could yet win honor today."
I think even with that addition, like Sela has literal heart eyes, like literally like melted in a puddle.
Could yet win honor today. We will begin as we always begin, with the brawl. And she kind of gestures to this like arena, and yeah, there is this kind of like absolute thudding on the ground. It's almost like an earthquake. It's like people are like stamping their feet, like there's a general kind of beating of weapons. Like it's a big moment. And a group of halflings kind of like line up like in the circle around this kind of patch of grass, and the first few people start fighting. And one of the kind of officials of the day comes over to you, Aldred, and says, "You're up 7th. Anything I need to know?"
No.
All right, then. Good luck. May strength be with you. And he just turns away, and like that's about as much information as you're given for your brawl. So you watch a couple of different people compete. You watch Abigail Greensmith. Abigail Greensmith is short for a halfling. She is about 3 feet tall.
And fine with it.
Yeah, she fully picks up another halfling by his shins and throws him over her head. Like it's kind of like a violent flip, but more aggressive. There's the point where she grabs someone's arm and uses it to like pull them down and flip them over. Like she is clearly just like 3 ounces of whoop-ass, you know, like she's so much dense, concentrated muscle in this person. So she's pretty ferocious. There is also Harry Taunton. Harry Taunton is a fat, strong person. They've got a lot of tattoos, which show the various faces of the river. They don't work with kind of speed and tricks in the way that Abigail does. They just can't be moved. Like there's one point when they're fighting someone, and like it's just fully just this person is just coming up against them, and they just like put their hand on this person's head very kind of gently, and like a claw machine just moves that person out of the ring. And this person is like kicking and shouting and trying to like break their grip, and they just drop them. And they like seem pretty comfortable with their life. And you know, like various other people kind of play. Some of them are more well matched. Like some matches go on for like minutes and minutes until both competitors are sweating and breathless and furious. Others are over in a flash, until finally it is your turn, Aldred.
Who am I fighting?
You are going to be fighting Abigail.
Yes. Sorry, wait. I'd like to take her on, maybe not in fight.
1v1 me, 1v1 me.
We're getting lore.
It's so incredibly valid. So Abigail comes into this circle, and she is a woman with kind of dirty blonde hair, a lot of scars. Her nose has clearly been broken and healed, but it's just got a little bit of a curve to it. She's got these brown eyes, and she's sort of just like fully just like punches her hand and is like, "All right, I've seen you around. Didn't know you were a brawler."
I didn't either, but maybe today I am.
And I choose not to take the fact that you've decided to fight me as an insult. Let's do this.
Well, so while this is
Pick my...
so
Okay.
up in the stalls, I take like Tarai takes out a piece of paper and is just like, okay, we're good. Like, look, I bet on our person. I bet on our person. We're going all in here, okay?
See, that's the encouragement I like to see. See, everything's going to
Thank you. We're gonna be fine.
Yes. We're going to be fine. We're
gonna
always
be
fine.
fine.
Just like the
Always
hardest
fine.
slap on your back, just like always fine.
Oh, I nearly dropped the sheet. I'm like, no, I need that. No, it's fine. Yeah, always gonna be fine. See, I
So the
caught
way
that.
that
I
it's
didn't
gonna
lose
work
that.
is
So
Shahik, I'm gonna ask you to
Yes.
do a roll, and then depending on the outcome of the roll, if you win the brawl, I'm gonna ask you to describe to me how you win the brawl. If you lose the brawl, I'm gonna tell you how you lose the brawl. You're welcome to give me some detail as to like why you think it happens, but that's what's going to happen. So because you don't have the brawling knack, you are rolling at disadvantage. It is at this point that any other players are welcome to contribute anything that you'd like to. I'd like to just give you all a heads up that difficulty ratings in Upriver Downriver are like tiered, like many RPGs. And generally speaking, an easy success is to get a total of 8+. An average success is to get a total of 10+. A difficult success is to get 12+. A very difficult success is to get 14+, and a legendary success is to get 16+. This is going to be a
difficult
sword
success
roll.
is good or bad? The
It's good.
difficult
It's
makes
just
good or
it means
bad?
it's good. It means it's harder. So like the harder your success, the more powerful it is. So difficult success is better than an average success, and average is better than an easy success. So an easy success would be like you go for a swim in a gentle river, and a legendary success would be like you swim through a tsunami. Like it's kind of like the kind of like big kind of gap here. So today, you're going to need to get a total of 12 or higher to just pass any of these rolls, which is like the roll on the dice plus your stat. The stat is going to be swords.
Swords.
So does any other player want to help? We've already got the fact that Casey Jove made some food, which means that you'll get to reroll ones. Lily,
Yeah,
can you offer?
I'm gonna contribute some help, so to take away that disadvantage.
Nice, I love it. So that makes it a flat roll. Amber, for you to use your replacement roll, you would need to wait until after the roll.
Yep.
However, your number is an 8.
I've got a +4.
Okay.
That was my question. Does it replace like a dice roll, or does it? So if I
It
said
replaces the dice roll.
so, you get the 8, but you can just add the stats onto the 8.
Yes. That's
Okay, so that's good. That's a good thing we can use. Okay.
okay.
Wait, so to not be banned from here, we need everybody to win?
You just need to win the most contests for your team. So there are other teams competing. There are 4 matches. Like you probably need to win at least 3 out of 4 in order to win.
Okay, good. Well, should I roll?
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes!
Do it!
I will roll!
Channel the positive.
I am
Kick
Aldred!
ass!
Courage.
That's a 12!
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
Yes! Yes!
Never punched before. Punched really good.
You know what?
Bitch!
I'm gonna say,
Break her nose
like,
again.
and with that +4, that is a legendary success. So I'm going to say that not only do you win this particular match, but you go on to win the entire brawl. You win a couple more matches. So describe to me how Aldred like wipes the floor at this brawl.
How many people will I fight?
As many as you like
were-
at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop.
You were 7th. I think there are probably about 16 competitors. You don't fight all of them. So yeah, just like a couple more, like about like
Okay, okay.
4 to 6. The other thing that I want to say is that what I would like to hear in this description is how Seela's tutelage helped you, because if you hadn't been rolling a flat roll, you would have had to throw away that 12, and you didn't have to throw away that 12 because Lily gave you advantage. So how does like Seela's like little tutoring help you win?
Well, Seela, do you think you have idea for what advice or help you would have given me?
I mean, I think maybe what it is that specifically for Abigail, Seela had watched several different competitions with Abigail and knew that she had like this one particular tell when she was going to try to like feint to the opposite side. And Seela was like, so when she does this, then you do this.
What do you mean feint to the opposite side?
Pretend that she was going to go one way, but instead went another way.
Oh, right. Yes. I know rolling terms.
I
Or
feel
whatever.
like that's a great conversation to have, and then go just kick all of their asses. You're like, yeah, totally feigning to the side. Yeah.
In the middle of the show, like, oh.
We're all like, okay, just do your best, and then you just wipe the floor with everybody. Oh, dang.
So I punched like this.
Wonderful.
Okay, so
I love that Seela is actually having to tutor the only other halfling in the group.
Alrighty,
Okay.
Shahik, tell me, wrap this up. Tell us what happened.
Yes. Well, I think having watched Abigail, I can see she's very athletic. So I was like, I can't fight her. I have to outsmart her. So what I did was, for the first couple of punches, I was like, oh my god, I'm so weak. I'm like, ugh, what is happening? Oh my god. And then maybe like when at some point I fall down, and then she's like, gets cocky. Maybe is Abigail like that? Who knows?
Seems like it.
And then, and then when I get back up, that's when I'll sort of like maybe have the advantage of Abigail not being fully on guard, and when they try to like do the whole fading to the side thing, I'm like, when they go like, oh, I'm not gonna go like, ugh, I'm just gonna punch on the left side. You know when you were trying to kill a fly and you go like this instead of going like this? That's the equivalent of what I'm doing. The other people, I think I'm just gonna resort to the adrenaline and just brute force, to be honest. I'm just gonna go in, just running to them, just like grabbing them and running them to the other wall, and then other things as well.
And I think you feel, as the fights continue, like I'm gonna like add and embellish that, like from the crowds, what you can kind of see is that there's like this interesting thing that happens where when Aldred wins her first fight, like people are kind of like, okay, well that was dumb luck. Like there's no way that this person
Just
like
the two of us
won
going,
against everyone else is silent. But then as it goes on, so like the next few competitors who fight Aldred like aren't taking them that seriously, even though they've just seen Aldred win, because they're like, well, now I'm gonna win. And then like as it becomes clear that Aldred is actually just winning on skill, like it becomes more and more of this thing of people being like, no, I have to prove that, like, because I've been training all my life, like, you know, and it turns the thing, and like, yeah, like you say, Shahik, you have the adrenaline going in there, and I think that what I will say is like, as you are crowned champion of the brawl, you feel in that last kind of tackle charge as you push that person out of the ring, you feel this sudden like superhuman, more than human strength, and it is like
I'm not human.
being, but like I mean, super halfling. You feel like you're being wrapped in this like warm cloak, like something like so like heavy but good heavy and protective and like nurturing, and you feel as if like you are being held, but like in the best way by like a parent or a family member, and you feel like strength itself, like the face of strength with you in this moment, like pushing you forward. And this last person you push out of the ring, you don't only knock them out of the ring, they fall through the crowd and like kind of skid backwards, and there's like just divots in the dirt, like where they're kind of pushed backwards. And you turn around, and for everyone in the stands, all of you just for a moment saw this tall androgynous figure wearing a mask like folded around Aldred, and it was like so faint, it was like golden sunlight, you couldn't even tell if it was just the light, but for just a second it was like the face of strength, the face that has always been the face of the halflings, was with her. Next contest.
Yeah, just after this happens, Tarai just turns to Faye and goes, "Did she say she was a doctor?"
And I'm a halfling, bitch.
Doctor of death. To be
She leans over to her first mate and she's like, "Yeah, I think she studied in pain."
Alrighty, next up, Lily, Sela, it's the archery contest. So there are a bunch of targets lined up. There are various halflings getting ready. Poppy Ragnar herself is actually here to supervise and judge this contest. You know, like some people have already started. You have like a certain number of shots. How close you get to the target. If you can do any trick shots, great, but like in the first instance, just hit the bullseye or as close to it as you can get. And it's also like a matter of increasing distances. So like with Shahik, I'm not gonna make you do a bunch of rolls. It's just gonna be one roll that's gonna resolve like how well you do. You can roll with advantage here because you are in the location of strength and you are following the path of strength. Your crewmates can also assist you should they so choose. You are looking to get at least a 12. What does it look like as Sela gets ready to actually compete in Bravery Day?
I think she has her bow out, and she's checking like all of the parts. It's mostly made of steel, actually. It's not a wooden bow. And again, it's styled almost like a crossbow. So there's like a little niche that she sets it against her shoulder and shoots kind of like that way. It's like a little thing for the eye. And she looks very casual. Like she doesn't look nervous at all. And I think even though Poppy Ragnar is there, this is like a person that she idolizes, that actually gives her more, like it bolsters her instead of making her nervous or anxious. She's just like, yeah, I got this. She's kind of standing with one foot backward, very casual, loose grip on the bow. Doesn't even look like she's about to be competing.
Cool. Okay, give me a roll.
Okay, so I do have the archery knack.
You do. You are already rolling with advantage, which basically, as I said before, I'm not going to stack these necessarily. I do think you have special circumstances because of everything about like who you are and what you're doing and your bow. But in the first instance, you can give me a roll with advantage and tell me what you get.
Okay. All right, so this is a D12, right?
Yes, this is a D12 plus your swords.
All right. I don't have another D12 present, so I'm going to just roll twice. The first one is a 10. That's really good. The second one is a 12. Oh my God.
No! Your crew
and my
is
sword,
chosen by strength.
My sword is 4.
There's other numbers, guys.
What is happening? What did I tell you?
For us.
What did I tell you? Our crew.
This is what
It's gonna
happens
be
when
fine.
you roll
We
real
did this
dice.
at the beginning. It's
How
gonna be
much
fine.
money are you
dice.
winning? And I need a cut of it.
I'm having such a good day.
Hold on, your cut is you get to ride my boat for free. But
Just handing over the bits of paper. Yes, I suppose you're right. Yes, that was the deal.
What is especially satisfying to me about this is that our two halfling crew members, like in the like halfling home on the halfling day of culture, like at the path of strength, like it's like, yeah, it's great. Mwah. Okay, so Lily, not only do you win the archery contest, not only does Sela win the archery contest, they like win it with like fucking style, which means you can add some trick shots in there. You can break a target if you want to. It's very, very cool. You can do something like wild as you're like shooting your bow. Like, describe to me the extremely cool finishing shot as you like categorically win this archery competition in a way that is going to be talked about for decades.
I mean, I think it, again, right? Like she's just standing there, like very casual, very relaxed. She raises the bow and then like turns and looks at her competitor and is like looking at them deep in the eyes. Like this is like some serious like, and shoots without even looking.
Devastating.
And not
Devastating.
only does it hit the target, it does the full-on Robin Hood thing of like splitting the previous arrow on the target. And not only does it do the Robin Hood thing of splitting the previous arrow on the target, it goes through the previous arrow and snaps the target in half, and the target like collapses to the ground. And for people who are watching, again, and I think for Sela, this is even more special because it's the face of the path that you follow. You feel like the face of the river, your path, like folding around you, like a loved one, like an embrace, like sunlight on a hot day, and you feel so safe and so powerful and so exactly where you need to be. You feel so rooted into the grass, you feel so connected to the hills and the world around you, and every single thing that is strength, that is health, that is nourishment, that is courage. And for people watching, there's this moment where the sunlight catches and you see this kind of tall, androgynous, cloaked figure wearing a mask, standing like over and around Sela. And as she shoots without even looking, you see that figure, they've got their like arm stretched out, and when the arrow looses, they just open their palm. And when they open their palm, this like light, this golden sunlight kind of glittering follows the arrow as it like thuds into the target, and the target falls apart. And again, like there is like almost a hushed silence for a moment before everyone applauds and just absolutely goes wild. Like your team are like becoming very quickly like a favorite of like the halflings here. And just before we move on, Sela, Poppy Ragnar comes over to you, and she kind of puts a hand on her hip and she goes, "Some pretty fine shooting. Do I recognize you? I've seen you before in the back of the crowd. When you were a child, maybe."
Yes, well, I have always idolized you, and I've seen you before, and I can't believe that I even had a chance to shoot in front of you, but yeah. And I think she even has her bow like kind of up, and she's like, I made this myself, and I dedicated it to you when I first used it.
Well, that is quite a thing. And it's a beautiful piece of work. And she kind of reaches into, like, she's got this like belts of pouches and patches and everything, like you know, she's very much a craftswoman. And she gets out like this wad of like folded papers, and she says, "I get the feeling these are gonna mean more to you than me." And she passes them to you. And what these are her own Poppy Ragnar's schematics for her own crossbows and bows, and you can use them to upgrade your bow in a way that is going to give you a mechanical advantage, which is going to add 1d8 to your rolls with that bow when you're doing damage, and once a day will let you re-roll to shoot better with an aiming mechanism. As she personally gives you her secret schematic.
Yeah, but I made a 6 stew.
There was potatoes, there was love.
Well, actually, speaking of Jove, so Jove, in the middle of all this, this halfling man, this black halfling man with the kind of crazy like grey afro hair that's like burned off in places, this wild glasses, gets up to you. Doesn't really greet you, just fully goes into, "I couldn't help but notice, and I really apologize if this might be considered to be rude, but I did notice that you were using a cane, and I have to say, I think I know who you are. You are the son of Atticus and Desmona."
The cane?
Yeah, that's I mean, what?
I knew your parents. They were wonderful people. They actually saved my wife. I really cannot tell you how grateful I am to them. And then later on, and for the first time, like in the slightly like manic energy that's happening, his face falls and he goes, "And I heard about what happened afterwards. Anyway, I have never actually been able to leave, what with, you know, the war and the fallout of the war. I'm sure I don't need to tell you. But I have been working on this in the hopes that one day you might find your way here. Now, some people said it was a fool's errand, but you're here, so I knew you would be. And I realize that you haven't met me and that you don't know who I am, but I would just really love it if you would just give me sort of just a minute or two of your time. It feels like your friends are doing just fine, so just give me a minute.
I just wait for it though. Hang on, stick around a bit longer.
Yeah, you're gonna miss the good stuff. I feel like Joe has not been allowed to speak at this point until he has too much talking. I feel like it's just like so much information all at once. Like,
time.
holy God. And like, I think that like when he mentions his parents' names, he sort of like looks around to see if anyone's like listening, because that's no cool. Then panic averted.
It is a problem, but on this day for halflings, they are much more interested in the contests.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I was like, well, yeah, you blew up my spot here, bud. Yes, of course. I would. Yes, please. I'll follow you.
And he kind of takes you a little further away from the crowd, and like swings this heavy backpack off his back and drops it. And when he drops it, it sounds like a brass band being like knocked over like bowling pins. Like the level of like metal clatter is just ridiculous. And he pulls something out of it, and it almost looks like a greaves. It's like armor for a leg, and you see that it is a kind of mechanized brace, and he gets it out and he says, now, I don't know that this will be particularly comfortable. I would recommend remaining with your cane for the time being. In addition to my dabbling in invention, I am primarily a doctor. And
wow, so much going on.
And he's like, however, your family did a lot for me, and I have tried to follow news of you and your travels, and occasionally word has come back to me about the fact that you have been traveling, and I know that the river is a dangerous place. In case you need it, I hope this might be useful. You don't have to take it, but I have it in case you would like it.
I think he'll take it and sort of examine it. Yeah.
So this like is essentially a steam-powered brace, and once a day it will allow you to ignore the effect of your scar. So for example, if you wanted to run or climb somewhere or get away from something, you wouldn't have to roll with disadvantage. It's only once a day because A, it has some power, but B, it will be quite painful for you. It's not the best way to treat a disability like the one you have. But in extreme circumstances, it is essentially giving you a mechanized Edward Elric leg that will help you through something.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think he'll take it. Like, I think he's got a little bit of like misty eyes. He's got a bit of like tears in his eyes as he takes it and says, wow, this is so wonderful. I appreciate the thought and care that you must have put into this, and I'm glad to hear that the Aeneas name is still known by some in a positive light.
He kind of gestures for you to come down to his level, like either to sit down or crouch down or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not crouching. I'll sit though.
Once you sit, like, he kind of puts a hand on your shoulder, and he looks at you, and he has these kind of like wrinkles, like lots of laugh lines around his eyes, but also a lot of frown lines. And he says, and he squeezes your shoulder quite firmly, and he says, the Aeneas name is seen in a good light because you are a good man, and your actions have had consequences which have reached ears and hearts up and down this river. Your good work does not go unnoticed, unseen or uncared for.
I'm gonna cry in real life. That's really nice. yeah, I think he's just like pretty speechless. I don't think he's had good interactions with people before, for sure. But I feel like in his travels, he's like done a lot of like trying to work his way into like having people trust him, and you know, I think it's a big deal to meet someone like one that has met his parents and like still remembers like what they did, and yeah, it's just like it's just so validating, and I think he like it's a mix of guilt for not feeling worthy of validation, just considering like, you know, the whole backstory. No one else knows this. Should I share that part so that to the audience?
It is yeah, like it is. Yeah. We can allow like kind of the information to unfold on stream, or you can tell us now. Either way, I am happy with it.
I'll tell like a shortened version. Basically, Joven's parents were like nobles in the city, and they worked for the government and were like very well respected and were advisors during the war. But they were also like rebels and were trying to sort of like dismantle the like government from within as much as possible. And so during the times that they were like running the kiwi out of the city and like killing people and stuff, his parents would smuggle the people that they could into like the manor that they lived in. And yeah, I'm not going to get into the details of how that all went down, but that was a thing that they did. But because of how some things unfolded, the Aeneas name is not known for that by most people. It is known as like one of the bigger contributors to the war, and like a big family that helped like genocide happen. So that's like the most, like that's what all the humans see them as, at least. And so yeah, it's been a tough legacy to deal with. Anyway, so that's pretty cool.
I think like after like you kind of have this exchange, this man whose name is Bob Greenfellow, just
of course
fully, sits down on the grass beside you, gets out a pipe, and just sort of looks at you, goes, "Smoke."
Absolutely. Yeah.
We need you smoking as we move to Tarai, who is in the penultimate challenge of Bravery Day at Carriage Falls. So this one is crossing the Giant's Causeway. So each person is given a large stone to carry, and you basically have to jump from one big stepping stone in the river to another whilst carrying this stone. This is again going to be a swords roll. And I will say that it's especially relevant to dexterity or strength. If you have neither knack, you'll roll a disadvantage, but I think you do have the dexterity.
I've got dexterity, and I've got climbing as well, for what that's worth.
Yes. So, like, it's good to be aware of. I think for now, like, we'll see. Now, you do have this thing from Jove, which is that, like, you can re-roll a roll once a day thanks to the magical food you've eaten. So what does it look like as Tarai gets ready in this kind of queue of different halflings who are like variously kind of like doing a bit of lifting, like there's a couple people who are like stretching, like people are just like really getting ready, like psyched up for this, because it's not only you have to cross, but you also have to race. You have to be the first person to the other side.
Tarai is no longer having a good day. Their demeanor has changed significantly. They are quite quiet as they go into this. Either right before it's like are the rest of the crew there, or is this like they've said goodbye to the crew at this point?
Well, I mean, like, definitely Aldred and Sela and Zania could be. Sorry, Faye. This is Zania in real life.
I was like,
I'm
there.
Oh, yeah, there. I am there. You're right.
Faye can be watching if they'd like to.
Okay, so basically before I kind of go line up, I just sort of say to everyone, I just want to say, just in case this doesn't go well, that it's been a pleasure serving with you. And then they take out a piece of paper and they hand it to the captain, being like, I bet against myself, so consider this an insurance policy. And then just walks off to the thing, like not thinking, just straight ahead, tunnel vision.
Oh, buddy.
They're just yelling after them, just like, you do this every time. I bet on you. Just come on.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be absolutely fine. It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be. Hey, come here. It's going to be
I turn
fine.
around and come back.
Just holding your shoulders, just like, it's going to be fine.
It's gonna be
You're
fine.
going to be amazing. You're
It's gonna
going to
be
win
amazing.
us a lot of money.
So much money.
So much money. We love
So much money. So much money. Here I go.
So much
Right.
money. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
My favorite part is there isn't even money to be won. But yeah,
Exactly.
no, to be fair, the
No,
betting
they're
you'll win
not.
money from.
Yeah.
All right. So, Amber,
Yes.
for Turai, please give me a roll. Because you have the knack, it is a flat roll, but you can re-roll it because of Jove's food if you would like to or need to. You also
Right.
obviously have your own earlier roll.
Yep.
Have to get a minimum of 12.
Minimum of 12. Okay.
That's in total, obviously, with your stat.
Oh, honey, that's a 1.
Oh,
I'm gonna
no!
re-roll.
Reroll!
I'm gonna re-roll.
Come
Yeah,
on,
that
I
never
believe
happens.
so hard in you.
I'm gonna re-roll. That's a 4. So
That's
I'm
better.
gonna use my path roll to
Yeah.
replace it with an 8.
That's a very, very good idea. So here's
my
what happens. You do not win the race. You don't embarrass yourself and you're not injured, which would have happened if you'd used the 1 or the 4. You would have actually fallen and been quite badly hurt. So you don't break any bones. Which, hey, congratulations, you see some people break bones. As you are
Oh.
crossing, you see halflings like slip into the water, drop their rocks. It's quite a big fall. It's like, about 20 feet. These are big stones. And then they fall into the water and get swept away. People are having to get, there are essentially lifeguards on duty, who are, jumping in to get people out of the water. Blood is, spilling into the water as, people fall. And there's other people, there's this one, halfling, May Merriweather, who was talked about, on the way here, who fully just you don't even know how she moves so fast, but just in seconds she's across. And so it's a little disheartening because even once you're halfway, you know that you haven't won. But now you just have to not fall. And there's a moment where you jump from one rock to another, and obviously all these rocks are soaking wet because they're underneath a massive waterfall. You jump from one rock to another, and you feel your foot starting to slip, and you try to get your gain, and it still slips. And then there's this moment where this figure, this cloaked androgynous figure with a mask like a wheel appears, and you can't see a face, just a mask, but for some reason just in the back of your head you feel this warm, playful laughter, and just this, it reaches out and with one inhumanly long finger just nudges you back onto balance, and then just fades into the mist, and you kind of you go from wobbling to fall to wobbling to stable.
And then you drop the thing you're holding because what the fuck just happened?
No, I'm not dropping that. I am not letting go of that.
And you recognize in your heart the Wheel of Fortune, your path, your face of the river, having kind of just nudged your sense of fortune just this once, just for you, as
Towards
you're able to,
mediocrity.
towards mediocrity indeed, as you successfully cross the river. However, unfortunately, so now you have all won 2 of the 4 events. You need to win 1 more event in order to win the day.
I'm scared.
We move
On you, baby.
to Faye
I'm so
Halfmoon.
scared.
Faye,
No
for the
pressure.
love of
No.
God.
No pressure, but don't fuck it up.
Okay,
It's
so-
cool. You got this. Come on.
I'm
Swimming.
freaking out. She's not. She's totally cool.
Turai comes
I've
over.
come back by now. Oh, I come back by now, and I've got orange slices.
Give me the orange slices.
Yeah.
She hungry.
Okay, so Zania, what does it look like as Faye gets ready to try and win this swimming race across the river?
She's just totally in her element, just kind of stretching out, looking over the halflings, fixing her huge fin a little bit, kind of winking to the crowd.
Nice,
You know
nice.
that thing where you're trying, you're subtly trying to flex, just Oh yeah, it's nothing. Hey, how you doing?
You know what? Like, I'm just gonna say that before we even get to the resolution of like the big roll, can you just give me a d12 plus your tongues to see like how many of these halflings are swayed by like
you
your...
now.
does my leadership help with this? Or
I don't think you're trying to lead people in this
Can
moment, are you?
Can I assist with this?
Wait,
Can I assist with my charm?
Possibly give it. Let's find out what. Yeah, you know what? Like, yeah, sure. Tirai is the best wing person ever.
Yeah, pointing
like,
at the muscles.
Have
you seen them?
Have you
seen them?
Okay,
the
so
river
you add
folk.
d12 plus your tongues.
11, 12. So right now it's 12 with the tongues. And then that roll was even worse, so in total 12.
Okay, 12. You know what? That's perfect. That is a difficult success. That's still better than average. So about 3/4 of the crowd here are a little bit like, and like a lot of people are kind of like whispering to each other. Like, you see these two like very butch halfling women like kind of whispering to each other and be like, is she new here? Like, I don't know that she was. Wow, look at those fins.
There's like two on the side that just kind of flare up as she goes, hi.
Like one of them like fully like does blush a bit and then just like and like turns around like keeps sharpening her sword.
I like the accent where it's from.
But okay, it's time for you to actually do the swimming competition. So you have the swimming knack, which means you're not rolling at disadvantage. You have Jove's food, which means you can re-roll once. Are you ready to take your roll? Alrighty, it's a swords roll. You're looking for a minimum of a 12.
Okay. Oh, that's bad. I've got to re-roll that. That was like a 2.
Okay, keep calm.
Come on, hype me up, please. Please.
You got this. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. You got this. You got this.
So good.
Is it
No.
12? No, it's not.
No, it's not!
That's 12.
Is it a 12?
For the audience, did you know my modifier for swords is a 5?
Which makes us a 17.
We just come in and just wreck the place. Like, wow. And then speed out like, yeah, you didn't want us here? What's up?
Okay. So,
I got a 12, oh my god.
That's beautiful. Zadia, yeah, describe to me how Faye just like kills it. Like, you can't even see any of the other competitors out of your peripheral vision when you win this race. You are that far ahead. Like, explain to me like how you win with style in a way that will be remembered for generations.
God, I think before she even gets into the water, just because she notices she has like all these female, male, and otherwise fans now, she's just gonna kind of raise her arms and just be like, "So, I'm gonna teach you why I am the Fae Half Moon, why I am the captain of the Prestige." And then,
I'm getting
soon
so
as,
excited, by the way. I'm just in the crowd going, yes! Yes! Do the thing! Yes, that's my captain! That's my captain!
Even just pointing back to Turai, just like, hey, this one's for you.
Swooning, openly swooning.
So they get ready. They're looking dead at the water. And I think they even give the others like a little bit of a head start, but then just slick as anything, immediately diving into the water, just like psh, 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 psh. I imagine there's like flags that are above. She even like jumps up and like catches it in her mouth and like psh,
oh my
back
God,
in the water.
You're Prince Sidon.
Yeah.
See,
finally somebody gets my vibes. But yeah, she's just back and forth grabbing these flags, doing little twists. She's making a show of this as much as she can.
I love it. And once again, there's this illusory like figure that's maybe a trick of the light, maybe not, the silhouette. But actually this time for you, Faye, there are these twins on either side of you. and one behind you is the figure of strength, the mask of strength. You can feel that it's strength because you can feel your arms and legs, your whole body getting stronger as it like comes closer to you. But on the other side, as the sunlight refracts through the water, as you are surrounded by shattered light in the water, like dropping whenever you like come up, and like the sun dances off your scales and plays with every aspect of you. You feel the sun itself like wrapping around you, filling you with vitality and excitement and joy and strength, and oh, you're gonna win, and you do. And it is beautiful and stunning, and there are rainbows of light refracted off the water coming off of you, and you feel strength around you, holding you here, and you feel so rooted to this place and so powerful within it. Your team has won.
Yes! I can't believe we did! I mean, I can. We are the best.
Of course we won. I mean, of course we did.
Yeah, of course we did.
Easy.
Why does anybody ever doubt me? I'm your captain. My word is true.
I never doubted you. I never doubted you. Of course you were going to do this.
I know.
We have won so much money.
We've won so much money.
We've won so much money.
So much.
We can buy a new ship.
No. Our ship is fine the way. We have a good ship. Not buying another one.
Can we paint the ship? Wait,
yes,
I'm the captain.
we can paint
Of course
the
we
ship.
can paint the ship. Yes, of course we can.
Alrighty. So you've won. And you're brought up. You've won a piece of the map to the crystal nets. You've won Harton's hammer, which is a golden pendant that gives the wearer advantage on strength-related rolls. You are brought up onto this kind of rock at the center, and Seela, Poppy Ragnar, like looks out. Like all four of you are kind of standing behind her. And actually, Jove, you are invited to come up and join your team if you would like to.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So all five of you are on this stone together. A human is standing under Carriage Falls for the first time in almost a century. And people don't feel scared. Poppy Ragnar looks around at the cheering, amazed crowd. Some people are confused. Mostly people are amazed. There's one thing that halflings love. It's kind of like football fans. It's like good football. Like, and for them, like this has just been like a day of being like, man, that was a good test of strength. Like they're just like they're really happy about this. Like, and Poppy Ragnar looks out and says, "Well, the river god has spoken. The face of strength has spoken. And we know that there is nothing more true, more honest, more trustworthy than simple courage and simple strength. So we trust you." And she turns to all of you, but she especially makes eye contact with Jove. "They have proven themselves to each other, to the river, and to all of us. I present to you our champions." And as she says our champions, she grabs Seela's hand and raises it into the air. And you, like holding hands with Poppy Ragnar, stand, and like all of these hundreds and hundreds of halflings like absolutely scream. They roar. The crowd goes wild. The water is like spraying onto your back, so you've got this kind of refreshing like coolness of like the hot day as you are all like wreathed and backlit by this waterfall, like absolutely thrumming with magic. You win. So, we're going to resolve a little bit of admin, probably off stream, which is there's some stuff you can buy here, but we're probably not going to do that on the stream because we're in our last 20 minutes. So in our last 20 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to skip forward a little bit in time to the moment that you leave Harton. Because in each session of Upriver Downriver, you get one location, and then at the end of the session, you roll to navigate to a new place, and you have the option of taking communion with the river. Taking communion with the river means that I draw a tarot card for you. And if it's upright, it's a blessing. If it's reversed, it's a curse. Curses are lessons, blessings are gifts. And then when you roll to navigate, your captain or whoever you've nominated as your helm rolls with the crew's collected river sense. And if they get what they're aiming for, then you go where you want to go. And if not, then I decide as the river where you are swept to instead. You also have another thing that you really need to do, which is that you need to swear your oath. When you go on a journey on the river, you swear an oath to each other, to the river, and to your ship, that you will reach your destination safely. This started off as really just a legal thing for merchant traders to be like, I definitely agree that I will stay on the boat and get it to where it is supposed to go on this long journey. But over time, it's become a cultural ritual and then a spiritual ritual, which many people feel brings them luck and safety in their journey as they invoke the presence of the river god on their travels. You are all trying to go to somewhere impossible. No one has ever gone to find the source of the river and returned, partly because it is buried under the mountains in miles of labyrinthine tunnels in which most people are lost forever. You have sworn to try and do something which no one has ever done before. You are trying to do the impossible, and so your oath is similarly impossible. So, before you
But we're gonna
port,
swear to it, regardless.
yeah, you are.
Or die trying.
That's what we do as a family.
Yeah, swear impossible oaths.
Before you leave port, Shahik, what does this oath look like?
Well, first of all, I think I'd like to mention that when we were up on the stage with, like, being applauded and we had being given, what is it, a medal? I think...
Make it sound so easy.
No, I know. I was like, what is it, a medal or something? I don't even know.
You know how hard I worked? You know how hard I worked for that 17?
Yeah, she fucking went for it and was like, oh yeah, I punched some people. What did we win?
A medal that we got, and I think looking out into the audience and all of these halflings, Aldred probably just like tears up a little and does have a smile. Like, she's not like grumpy all the time. She like smiles a little, but there's definitely some melancholy in her. But then other than that, later in the day when they're nearing walking back to the ship and are about to get on it, I think she sort of goes just like, whoa, I'm not leaving until we do this. As like some people were like, she wasn't sure if everybody was gonna do it, but sometimes people kind of ignore it, and she just wants to make sure that it has to be in place, that safety, that ritual. And I think what I'll say is that they, is there an area where people can, like, is there a shore where people can walk into the river for, like, a couple of steps?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. It'll be, we don't have to do it together in, like, a circle, like a kumbaya thing, but, so people can do it individually if they want, but if people want to join in on the circle, they're welcome to.
I think Jove just like steps up and grabs her hand and is like, where do we get together? Like,
Yeah, Tarai also does the same thing.
Yeah, Faye's already there. She's just like,
yeah.
Yeah.
This is for all of us.
Aldred is not ready to hold Joven's hand,
Oh, that's fair.
and
He probably he would hold it out, like extend it to her and not just take it because that's shitty. So he would hold out.
yeah, that's fine. Don't worry.
Tarai steps in and links them together. It's like sort of like as the intermediary.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll hold Tarai.
not the hand, just all of Tarai. Just like
Yeah, all of Tarai just like, yeah.
Okay,
And then she's just like, oh,
Quick,
wait,
calm
oh,
down.
we're holding
Quick, calm
hands.
down.
Oh, here, yes.
Yeah. Yes, when Joven does reach out the hand, I think I'll again look up at him and just go, again, there's a lot of such deep sadness, and just go like, no.
Okay.
There isn't blaming or anger at you. There's just so much pain,
And
and she
can see
doesn't.
that.
She's not trying to sort of attack you in any
No,
way.
she's just saying she's not ready,
Yeah.
and I think Joven like immediately will like take his hand back and not in a shitty way or anything, but he will just just
Totally.
step up to meet you instead and just stand beside you and and just like nod
And-
kind of knowingly at your sadness because that's fair. We all been there.
And then once we're all together, or does somebody wish to do the oath on their own, or is everybody in the circle?
No, we're all in a circle.
I think
We're all in the
Yeah,
circle.
this is for all of us.
We're a very inclusive crew, honestly.
Yeah.
Just like
I might have sort of suggested in a way. I don't know if suggested is the word, but suggested the oath. But I'm not going to start. I think the captain should start with what to say, and then I'll say what I say when I say it, I guess.
oh.
Intrigue, I love it.
You are swearing an oath to reach the source. As long as you mention that you are swearing an oath to reach the source, everything else is your choice.
All right. Let me think. So, I think we all understand why we're here. I think we all understand that we need to look out for one another on our way to the source, and that we're going to do everything we can to not only make a show of this, but to really find the truth. And I know we're going to be great. We just kicked ass, people. Come on. But in all seriousness, I will do everything in my power to make sure we are all safe, as usual. And then just looking at you, Shuddy.
I promise and I swear to protect and heal when I can, who I can. If I can. And we will get to the source. And I will find what I need to find.
Next up, Turai.
May the river grant us safe passage. And may the river grant us safe passage and lots of luck.
Next up, Sela.
I mean, it feels like super serious moment, but like Sela is like riding high off of like a decade's worth of like serotonin and right now.
God, Sela's so cute. I love her.
No.
And she says, you know, we'll end at this source, but these guns will be here to protect you. And of course, go as well.
Beautiful. And last but not least, Joven. What do you say?
I think he chuckles at that a little bit for sure. So like lightens the super intense energy going on right now.
Yeah, we're trying not to laugh, but we're just sort of like
Yeah.
Snickering to each other.
I swear to hold space so that anyone who needs healing, I'm not a doctor, but spiritual healing, any, you know, nourishment, both body and soul, that is what I will provide for our journey to get us to the source.
Beautiful. And with that, the wind picks up. The water around you twists around your legs. She is Maud. The water around you twists around your legs, like ribbons. You feel all of you abruptly as if many, many hands are reaching for you, as if there are hands grasping at your arms and reaching towards your backs, as if there is a sudden chorus of ghosts, which is wondering if you will succeed where they have failed. And then that shiver passes, and you feel something inside you shift. And you know that whatever you have just done, it cannot be reversed. And it will hold you, whether or not you want it to. You get onto your boat. We have got 9 minutes left, and we have to do announcements for the stream, outros, and the end of this game. So, nice and speedy. I believe in us. Exactly. So next up, you can travel forwards. The places that you can travel onto are the Glass Road, which is a level 1 location, so you just need 1 for. The Floating Gardens, which is a level 2 location, so you need 2. The Buried River, which is a level 4 location. The Stone Cities, which are a level 4 location. What is going to happen is that Xania, as our captain, is going to roll the crew's collected river sense, which is 6 currently, which is 5 river sense plus the extra 1 that Faye has as a river folk. You're going to roll 64, and then you need to get a certain number of 4s. The Glass Road is the metropolitan kind of place where people travel. The Floating Gardens is a mobile floating city ruled by a pirate queen called the Minnow. The Buried River is the alleged urban myth where the elves went to hide after their settlements were razed by the human empire. And the Stone Cities is an incredibly dangerous series of whitewater rapids peppered by thousands of stone columns, which no one has ever survived sailing.
Amazing. Wow.
So,
Next week will be the final session of our game, guys.
so where do you all want to go?
If I might suggest the Floating Gardens.
I second that.
Yeah, I think you wanted to go to the Glass Road next because you're from there. But...
Yes, but I have an ulterior motive to go to the Floating Gardens.
Fabulous. I want to go to the Floating Gardens so bad. Let's go.
I really want to go there too.
Yes.
It was 6, right? 6?
Yep, 64. And just
The Hanging Gardens of
get you
Babylon.
I would like to commune with the river as well after this.
I'm going to, don't worry, I am going to check on that as well. I just wanted to, this required slightly more talking, and also, yes, I will resolve that in just a moment. But because we only have 7 minutes left and we do need to say goodbye and have our stream announcements, we might not be able to do full scenes, or we will resolve them next time.
I got my roll?
Yes?
So, how many,
You need at least 2 4s to succeed.
Okay, so 3 4s. 3, sorry.
Amazing!
Hey!
You're going to the Floating Garden. You will Gardens. You will successfully reach where you want to go. Now, the last thing we're going to do before we do our sign off is I'm going to ask you all if people want to commune with the river. Now, normally when I ask this, I ask people to describe what their character does to commune with the river. And I am very interested in knowing that. However, because we are extremely short on time, I cannot ask that right now. So instead what I'm going to ask is, if you want to commune with the river, I will draw you a card. I will tell you whether it's a blessing or a curse and what it is. And next session we will resolve it. We'll do a little bit of a flashback to like the moment where you communed with the river. Magic. You all get a total of 3 communions with the river across this campaign. There are 4 sessions. Does anyone want to commune with the river?
I do.
Shahik, Xania, and Casey. Okay.
Joven's having a wild time after that interaction and is like, let's get some river time.
Alrighty, so we're going to do Shahik first.
Yes, thank you.
Here we go. You drew the blessing of the Wheel of Fortune.
Ooh.
We will resolve this later, but for now, note that you have the blessing of the Wheel of Fortune. Next up is Xania.
Come on, blessing. Come on, blessing,
no
please.
Whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
No whammies?
The Curse of Strength.
Oh.
Which is very interesting to me.
Because you were too cocky.
No! I just wanted to look cool!
And finally, we have Casey.
Oh, I have beer in my nose.
You drew the blessing of the star.
Ooh. That's a good one. That's
note
cool.
that too.
Yeah,
okay, we will resolve these next time, and we will learn how our characters commune with the river. But for now, this has been Upriver Downriver. Thank you very much for watching our session. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you had fun watching it too. I'm Ella Watts. My pronouns are she, her. I made this game. To be honest, the thing that I would love is if you just check out this game. It's on McGuffin and Company. Now, what I would like each of my cast members to do is say goodbye and tell us where we can find you on the internet. Please keep it nice and brief. We've got 5 minutes left. So, starting with Shahik, where can we find you?
Hi again. You can find me on Twitter, but honestly, I'm trying to quit Twitter, so I'm trying out Blue Sky, I guess. So you can go and see me on there. And I'm currently not doing anything else, really.
I mean, I'm very happy you're here. All right, next up, Zania.
You can find me here. Yay! Next week.
Woo! So again, my name's Zania. You can find me as Zanianator. I'm actually an animator over on YouTube. I do D&D stories. But you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. I'm still on Tumblr. That's always fun. And yeah, just come visit me. I'm your favorite shadow host.
Hell yeah. Next up, Amber.
Hi, so you can find me everywhere as Tin Can Audio, including on Twitch. I make music live on stream every Monday, 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern. I also made the soundtrack for this game. There's a soundtrack for this game. You can find it on tincanaudio.bandcamp.com. It's 14 tracks, all kind of based around locations and tarot cards and everything in the world of Upriver Downriver. I think it's really good. Other people have told me it's good. So yes, please go check that
out. Next up, Katie.
Hi, Katie. She, they. God, I was going to talk fast and now I fucked it up. You can find me reading a book about how to dismantle the patriarchy, or you can find me on Instagram mostly, or Discord at Critical Spark 20. I'm over at Fablemancer's channel sometimes, also something cool maybe in the works that I might be doing, that I might be leading. It'll be really super cool. And I'm also here doing stuff all the time. Check us out. Come say hi to me.
Do it. Okay, so wonderful Lily has disappeared for now, so I'm gonna do our channel announcements, and hopefully Lily will come back.
I'm here.
Oh, Lily's back. Lily's back.
Lily's here.
Oh,
yeah, Lily's
good.
back.
Okay. Oh goodness, sorry, I lost Lily and I couldn't see Lily. But I'm glad Lily is here. Lily, last but not least, if you can hear me, please could you tell us where we can find you?
Sure. I am Lisa on Life on Twitter. That is where I've spent most of my online life, but now it is dying, and I am trying out Blue Sky. Well, I saved my username Elise on Life, so that is where you will be able to find me. I'm Lescribe in Twitch and Discord, and I am always in the Girls Run These Worlds Discord. There's now a public one, so if you want to join, that's cool. I am part of a lot of different projects. Currently, Blurred on the Street is my podcast that I have with 2 other women, and we are all Black women talking about geeky things and current events. And then the other podcast that I'm in is an actual play called Misfits of Space. And the season that we are recording right now is Scum and Villainy season, but I was also in the first season, which was a Star Wars AP, where I played a doctor that liked to poison people. So, you know,
The two are just
What
too
the
similar.
we have off stream, we have had like a ton of in-common
Yeah.
things right now. I feel like
We
we are
are
the
the
same
same.
soul in 2 different people.
Yes.
But yeah,
Amazing.
that's where you can find me.
Ella.
Thank you, because I cannot see or hear Lily.
That's fine. Over to you. That's the studio.
I appreciate you, Katie. So in our last minute, we got some announcements. On Thursdays, you can join Girls Run These Worlds to watch Alien Destroyer of Worlds, which is sponsored by Free League. Join Game Mother Fiona and her crack team of colonial marines as she throws them through a gauntlet of one hell after another. If Alien isn't your style, then on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, also sponsored by Free League, join Sweet Rosie B and the Hobbits of the Shire as they try to solve the mystery as what has happened to Gandalf's most excellent fireworks. I am going to be watching that. I love that whole thing. In general, support marginalized creators. Follow Girls Run These Worlds on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, or drop us a couple of bucks on our Ko-fi. All of the proceeds go to supporting independent artists doing stuff like this, and I think that's cool. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. Goodbye.